What's your birth year?
2007, May 30th,
19, and that doesn't make.
2007.
Wouldn't you be 18? Wouldn't that be make you 18? Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, it's a Palladio?
Big Mac and a side of fries. What? Yo.
Feed us. Feed us. Feed us. Feed us. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Can't hear the guest? Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, don't worry. We haven't got a guest yet anyway. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, YouTube. I really apologize. I really apologize. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I am 28.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do, unfortunately.
Okay. Why do you say unfortunately?
Well, when it comes to the lesser of two evils, I unfortunately find myself in a predicament where I have to choose between an unfortunate candidate because I don't really support his mannerisms, his choices, a lot of the things that he says, and the way that he behaves. And I really despise his divisive nature.
Okay,
But
so then
on the
how
other
is he
hand,
how is he better than Kamala Harris?
I mean, I really am just not a big fan of the way Kamala Harris has pronounced herself as a fan of, she used to have a lot of like police interactions. She had I really don't think her stance on immigration is as powerful as Trump's, and I really would like to see.
Okay. What
No,
about
I'm just-
immigration?
I'm totally trolling you. I just wanted to get in your life. I love you, man. You're great. I love you, and Dean.
Okay, appreciate you. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
34.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do. I just
What's
wanted to get your input on the peace deal that he just announced. That a ceasefire should come.
Okay, yeah. So it's interesting that we don't have any information specifically from Israel so far, but it's good if we don't want to prolong conflict in like the area. And also, like, I don't know what are the conditions of the ceasefire. Is it permanent? Does it include the United States? I guess most people are just assuming it does. And then also that that creates issues for you specifically in terms of defining why would the U.S. only have an involvement just because Israel's involved.
So let me give you a scenario. If there is a ceasefire, the Supreme Leader, I can't remember his name right now, flees regime change. What says you about Trump's overall presidency to this point?
Oh, like what? Okay, you just want to talk about the overall presidency of Donald Trump?
No.
I'm confused.
If
Repeat.
there's a regime change because of this ceasefire,
If there's a regime change, well,
Yeah.
where in the ceasefire does it say there's regime change?
I'm speculating.
Okay, if there was regime change within that's not happening.
Okay, what if it did?
Well, then that would be cool if it led to a better regime. But that's not gonna happen. So why are you asking me this? Hello? Hello? I'm okay. What the hell what is going on right now? Hello? Why did he just stop talking? Okay. Yo, what's up? How old are you? I just kicked him. How old are you?
Yo, I'm 24.
Do you support Trump?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Why do you support Donald Trump?
Shit. Get these illegals out of here, boy. Get them out of here, man.
Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Someone asked in the comment section if something happened between Dean and Parker. Absolutely. Absolutely. Something happened, chat. You want to know what happened, chat? Absolutely nothing. I'm just trolling. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
30.
Yeah, how old are you?
30.
Yeah, do you support Trump?
Yes. Kind
Okay.
of.
Okay, why do you
Sort
support? Wait, what do you mean kind of? Okay, if you could go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump?
I don't.
Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you support Donald Trump. For the 2,000 people on YouTube, make sure to like the stream. I'd really appreciate it. We're gonna get the first person up here right now. Give me a second. Let's go to the next person real quick. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yes, no, maybe. Oh, no, literally nothing happened between Dean and I. I was just trolling. Yo, what's up? How old are you? I didn't know if anyone actually took it seriously. Like, I don't want anyone to actually take it seriously. Obviously, nothing happened. Yo, what's up?
Can
How old are
I
you?
get my Big Mackey?
Actual zygote? What? Actual zygote? Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm 40.
And do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. Why so? And when you swipe out of the app, I can't hear you, by the way. I can't currently hear you right now.
Because he's the president, and if you don't support him, then he'll fail, which means America will fail, and I don't want America to fail. So I might not necessarily like him as a person or have necessarily liked him as a candidate. He's still the president, and not supporting him just as because he's the president means
Have I talked to you
you
before?
want America to fail. No.
No? Okay. So then you would support the president no matter who it was. So did you support Biden?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't like him, but he was the president, so I supported him as the fact that he was the president, and I don't want him to fail because if he fails, we fail.
Okay, well then I'll ask you this question. If it was the case that Hitler, was you were in the country in which Hitler was the leader of, would you support Hitler?
Well, as if he was doing something bad or before he started doing all of that.
At any
when he
point
first took office,
would you have supported Hitler?
No, but he was also
No. Okay, so to clarify,
unaliving mass groups of people.
Yeah, just because it is the case that they're the leader of the country doesn't mean you should support them. So then, what would be the reason why you support Donald Trump?
Well, he's not massively unaliving bukus of people.
He's not mass unaliving people. So the only
No.
way you would stop supporting him is if he was mass unaliving people, correct?
Well, yeah, if he was doing something evil, yes, I would.
Okay, well, we can point to that. Specifically, Donald Trump called for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians with no right to return to the land, right? And he supports Israel's conquest within the region, right? Specifically, literally trying to take over land, right? And settle upon a land illegally, right? Along with the fact that we can point to the fact that he was involved with Saudi Arabia, right? In their committing of a genocide in Yemen, right? They starved and bombed over 70,000 Yemeni children.
Donald Trump did that.
Yeah, Donald Trump was involved in that.
He said, let's do that. That was his. He said, go do that.
He supports them doing that because that's the case that he
But
specifically
is
gave
he
them the
doing
ability
it?
to
Is
fight
he-
them and do that.
Is he telling
People are saying
in
you're underage.
America?
Why are
Is
people
he
saying
telling
you're
our military to
underage?
go do that?
It's not our military. It's specifically him supporting another government and doing that.
I mean, just because he says that, I mean, it's not. He's not doing something to us.
Okay.
I'm not worried about foreign affairs. We
You're not
should
worried
not be
about
worried
foreign
about foreign affairs.
Not at all. Okay, so why did Donald Trump specifically have to bomb Iran?
Well, first of all, they've been saying unalive to America. Can you say? You can't say what they've been
what's your
saying on
birth
here. I
year?
don't want to get your life taken down. But they've been chanting
Hold up. What's your birth year?
unalive Americans for
What's your birth
40
year?
years or so.
What-
And
Hey,
if they
what's your birth
have-
year? Hello? What's your birth year?
mine, 84.
Okay, why are people saying you're underage?
I don't know. I'm definitely 40. I will be 41 in September. I graduated high school in 2003. What else do you need to know?
Okay. I mean, you literally
I
graduated.
was a 90s kid.
I mean, you graduated high school literally a year after I was born. So I definitely.
Yeah, so,
I
I-
obviously, yeah. But
If I was underage, I wouldn't know.
I didn't think
you
you're
know.
underage. I just don't know why people are spamming that in the comment section. I'm so confused.
I don't know. I can do all the things. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, you can continue. What were you saying?
Now I forgot what I was going with that. Like I'm not. I mean, if somebody has nuclear weapons and they were threatening us, or saying, unalive Americans, then yeah, I think it should be stopped. Like if somebody's
So to clarify,
putting
if North Korea
could be a
was
threat to our country.
if North Korea was developing a nuclear weapon, right? Would you say that like we should go to war with North Korea?
If they were developing, well, have they been saying like unalive Americans? I mean, if they're threatening us, then I would hope my leader would stand up to whoever's been threatening us.
So then why is Donald Trump backing down now?
Because he doesn't want, I don't think he wants to go to war. Like, I don't think that's what I don't think that's what he wants.
Okay, then why did
Like, I don't think he wants people to get hurt. Like, I think he was trying to avoid it.
How do you feel about Donald Trump pulling out of the nuclear peace agreement originally?
So, honestly, I'll be honest with that. Like, I don't know much about that. Like, I don't know much about that one or how that works.
Okay. But that's what led to the fact that, Iran even got to the point of, almost having nukes.
Okay, well, could be a problem. Yeah.
So
that
then
would be a problem.
Would you blame Trump for the situation we're in right now already?
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna not support him, because like I said, if you hate him so much and you don't support him, you're essentially wanting America to fail, and that would mean that we'd all fail, and I don't want that. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't necessarily agree with everything Biden did or Obama did or Bush did.
Can I ask you a question? Did you believe the weapons of mass destruction claim?
I don't know about that one. For Iraq or
For
Afghanistan?
Iraq,
Iraq? I don't know, because I was 19 when that happened. I was like 19, 20 when that happened. So I wasn't super involved in politics at the time, because it wasn't something that at the time people my age like participated in, because there was no social media to be talking about it. So I mean, I just had to go by what I heard.
So you did believe it? So,
like, if that makes sense.
You did believe it, right?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I could only go at the time. Like, I could only go by what the news was telling me.
And at the time, what
because
did
at
you
the
believe?
time, 2003, 2004, we didn't have the means to get other news sources besides.
Wait, hold up. I'm just asking what you believed. I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just saying, did you believe it then? Like, did you believe the lie about weapons of mass destruction?
I mean, yeah, I guess,
You did?
because I supported the president.
Here's my point. Why are you believing the same thing? Are you going
I
to
don't
get conned
necessarily
again?
believe it, but like, I'm also not going to not support him, because, like I said, if he fails, we fail.
What do you mean?
Because if you want the president to mess up so badly and do so bad, and because you hate him and you don't,
Wait, no, I would hope everything does better, but like, you understand that, like, I am understanding that it's likely going to be bad because how Donald Trump is.
well, likely is one thing, but like, you could think for the worst and hope for the best is what I do. Like, I think the worst, but hope for the best, because, like I said, if he fails, America fails. And I don't want to see my country fail. I don't want to see other people in my fellow American citizens. I don't want to see us failing. I don't want America to fall, and I don't want America to fail. So if that means I have to support the president that was elected, then that's what I have to do. Okay,
So I have a question. Is there something Donald Trump could do that would get you to not support him?
I mean, if he started acting like Schmittler, absolutely.
Okay. So, like, it's only once he starts mass murdering people in concentration camps. That's only the only point. Only once it gets to that point, then you're like, it's wrong. But before that, no.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's
You're essentially,
wrong,
you
but,
would
like,
have said, you essentially would have been a Nazi if you lived in Nazi Germany. You would have believed that shit. For sure.
well, no, I mean, like I can think he's doing something wrong. Like you can think a president is making wrong decisions, but like I still wouldn't. Like I said, I don't want him to fail because if he fails and we don't support him, then we all fail. It kind of all goes back like it's like a deck of cards. If one falls, we all fall. Like you build a house out of cards. If one fails, we all fall. And I don't want that. So like I would be trying to, instead of not supporting him, I would rather be trying to vocalize like, hey, make this decision instead, if that makes sense.
I don't really know what you're saying. Could you name like maybe a policy of Trump's you think is better?
I mean, I like that he's going to do no tax on tips for people that are in the service industry. That helps.
It's
I like that
a
he's trying to
$25,000 deduction. It's cash only, and people like are essentially not even reporting that already.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I like how, they were trying to overhaul, stand up to big pharma, and I like how they were trying to get the artificial dyes out of food, like with RFK, because a lot of those artificial dyes can mimic the symptoms of like ADD and ADHD. And we have so many people that have ADD and ADHD these days that it might not even be a true ADHD case. It could just be that the red dye in the foods are.
Let's not say that. Wait. Regardless of whether or not something would have an influence in terms of someone having ADHD doesn't at all change whether or not they actually have a case of ADHD. They do have a case of ADHD. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Clearly,
but it's triggered by. But it would be triggered by something.
Let me just address this, please. In terms of this, like having ADHD, right? I'm confused. Like, what's you're saying
So,
that like you're saying you would put right RFK possibly banning things like Red 40, right, over one the health of the country because Donald Trump and RFK don't even believe in science, right? RFK thinks that the vaccines cause autism, right, and that we should that raw milk is acceptable. And that specifically in terms of Donald Trump, he said the climate's going to start cooling and that science just doesn't know it yet. I mean, they actively don't base their science and their health on science. So it pulls us away from science and facts. And I think that would make us less healthy, alongside the fact that Donald Trump has no health care plan. That's incredibly important in terms of like people's health in this country.
Lots of those, I know there have been studies on the dyes, and I know a lot of people have opinions on vaccines anyways, but I mean there are, if you do your research, I don't know if you've researched it, but there are like the same products that are sold in America with food products.
The fact that you'd overlook, like I can acknowledge that in terms of certain things allowed regulatorily on a regulatory basis, right? It's not okay, right? I can acknowledge that from the U.S. perspective that the U.S. needs to regulate more in terms of that, but then also acknowledge that people like RFK aren't actually seeking out to do that because they don't believe in science. Like seriously, like we have to base it on science in order to be health conscious.
Okay, well, I mean, I thought he's got a lot of, I thought that was like one of his things is that he's big on and seems to know a lot of, and that's like things that are put in foods and whatnot that are not good for us. And I guess I kind of sort of a little bit lean like conspiracy a smidge, because I do sometimes feel like that there is a cure for cancer, but they're not going to put it out there because that keeps the pharmaceutical companies going in business.
Okay, if a company could,
I'm not saying it's true.
Okay, hold on, listen. If a company could develop a cancer cure, would they make a lot of money from that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But then Big Pharma would be out of money.
Okay, but so they would have a financial incentive to sell it, correct? If they could produce it.
Probably.
So then there are scientists around the world that would be able to produce it similarly to how they.
And I could have sworn, I could have sworn that there was somebody, and then something. I don't remember the whole story, and then he was unalived somehow, or he offed himself or something like that. I don't remember the exact details, but I had read something. There was somebody that had come up with a cure for something, or he was extremely close to working on a cure for something.
I understand. You can claim a bunch of things, right? Obviously, right? If you just think that everything within the context of science, right, is just completely bought and paid for, then you're not going to believe anything factual, and then like there's no reason for you to even to go to the doctors. Okay, so like obviously you have to acknowledge that like we have a basis for truth when it comes to these things, and that like it's not just conspiracy bought out, right? Because especially because these things are internationally determined to be true. Like that there's studies around the entire world
and
that
it's just
verify the same
there's a
information.
lot. Like they make like brand new babies, newborn babies get like what is it, hepatitis B or something, and the only way you can get hepatitis B is if you, which I know you can decline that one in the hospital, but the only way you can contract, I think hepatitis B is if you were like using dirty needles or something. Like, is a newborn baby going to be using like dirty needles? I mean, just there are some things that like
that's not true, right? I don't know why you'd just be saying that. And then in terms of this, like if you want to look at why vaccines are used, it's because scientists and professionals and doctors have indicated that it's from a risk benefit analysis that it's better for you to do. Okay.
Well,
So I want you to listen to this for a second. And I know it might seem counterintuitive to what science is, but if you don't have a set of qualifications, oftentimes you probably shouldn't be questioning the scientific consensus on things. If you don't have the ability to actually meaningfully disagree with their position, if you don't have the understanding to be able to disagree with their position, you probably shouldn't question it, and you should probably accept it based upon the evidence that exists for it, because they probably know better than you do. And that's exactly why we need to believe in science, right? Because they know better than we do, because they have significantly more research, right? Significantly more information. They've studied this for decades. That's why we look to them for this information.
But you can still, you can believe in it, but you can still ask questions, because I thought that's what science does. Like, you still can ask questions. I thought that's the whole point of science. Sure. You can ask questions.
You can ask questions, but what you're doing is spreading medical misinformation, right? You're saying things that are true. You're claiming it's true. You're not asking just a question.
I'm not claiming it's true.
And also, you're not going to a medical professional to ask the question, right? I'm not a medical professional.
I'm just like, I talk to my doctors, like I talk to I talk to people, but my medical team and the physicians I see and stuff like that. But like, I don't necessarily just blindly believe everything I'm told, but I do ask questions. I go along with what they recommend, but I do wonder, and I do ask questions, and I do, kind of wonder, well, if this is that, then why is that way, and whatnot. So like, I still try to be kind of an independent thinker and try to ask questions and wonder about things, because I don't think that hurts anybody to. Yeah, you can go with what people tell you to, but it's also okay to still say, well, I kind of wonder, or what if, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, I don't think it hurts anybody to.
Yeah, I have a question. Would you vaccinate your children?
All of mine are, so yeah. Okay. But if somebody else doesn't want to for whatever reason, then I'm not going to judge them for it. It's not my place to judge them how they raise their kids, how they parent their kids. Like, that's not my place to judge somebody else.
Even though it impacts other children and other adults in the community?
That's America. Like, you're free to go in some places get a religious exemption if your state acknowledges it, and if that's what you want to do with your children, that's on you. Like, I'm not going to mom shame or parent shame somebody else for the way they're raising their children, especially if they're not abusing their children, they're not teaching their children to be crappy people. I'm not gonna. I don't think it's my place to judge another parent, because I wouldn't want other parents judging me and telling me I'm doing it wrong, and I don't think that's my place.
I'm sorry, is it not incredibly fucked up for them to literally cause, right, within our society, more children to get infected by things like the measles and, by different types of illnesses that have plagued? The reason why we don't deal with this as much is because we have got vaccinated. Right, that's why. So like, we have to acknowledge the importance of vaccines, and then when people disagree with that because they think that like they know better than the scientists, I'm gonna look at that as like, wow, that's a pretty fucking insane position, because they think that they're more qualified in making a decision about science than the scientific consensus on the matter. It's delusional.
I don't think that they're necessarily saying they think they're better than the experts. I think they're just making what decision they feel is best for them and best for their
Hold on.
children and best for their families.
If a doctor indicated that like it's specifically going to be bad or harmful medically for the child, well, that would make sense. There are medical exceptions, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about medical exceptions.
It's like
we're talking about
it's like if
people
somebody came down with cancer.
saying something differently.
Like if somebody
than
has
what the
cancer, you can't
doctor
force
indicates.
them to go get chemo and get radiation and chemo. You can't force them to. You can think, wow, that's kind of silly of them, but
I'm sorry.
you
I'm
can't
sorry.
force them.
Whether or not someone gets chemo, does that affect someone else?
I know, but I'm
So
just
then
saying,
why is that a
you
comparison?
can't-
We're talking about people getting a vaccine, right? Specifically, right, for things that are contagious. Cancer is not contagious. Therefore, the same type
Well, I
of
know,
reasoning
but I'm
wouldn't
saying you
apply.
can't tell. Because that's why we have HIPAA laws. Like I cannot judge somebody else for making health decisions
Is that your
that
kid, by the way?
they want to do to their family, as long as they know the risks and they know what can happen, and they sign a waiver or whatever, that's on them. Like I can't tell somebody else what medical decisions to make in their life, regardless of what they are. A medical decision is a medical decision.
I'm sorry. Is that your kid in the background?
What is it? I'm sorry, say that again.
Is that your child in the background, or is that like a different?
Yes, she was coming in here.
Okay. It sounds like your kids are trying to get a hold of you.
One of them is my 10-year-old was,
For sure.
but she found me.
I have a question actually. If Donald Trump went up to your 10-year-old daughter and said he would be dating them in 10 years, would you still vote for him?
Probably not.
No? Okay, so then why do you vote for him if it is the case that he did it to a different 10-year-old?
I didn't vote for him, but I still support him as he is the president, like I said.
So would you still support him if it is the case that he went up to your 10-year-old daughter and he said he'd be dating her in 10 years?
Would I still support him?
Yeah.
As a leader, if he's still the president, probably. As a person, no. But if he's still the president, like I said, if I don't support him, then that means you
So
want him
you
to
would
fail.
still
And if
support him
he
as the
fails, we all fail.
president, even if he went up to your 10-year-old daughter and he said he'd be dating her in 10 years?
I would think he's a crappy person, but
But you'd still support him as president.
well, yeah, because he's the president. I don't want us to fail. Like I don't want America to fail. I don't want to see my other.
I'm sorry. Do you
fellow
think that there's
Americans
not a
failing.
single other person in the United States that could be president that would make our country not fail that didn't do that to your child?
Well, obviously, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so then why the hell are you only support? Why don't you stop supporting Donald Trump and be like, we need to find somebody else?
Because we're kind of stuck with him for the next 3 years. Like, I mean,
Okay, call for impeach.
and if we're not stuck
for
with
him
him,
to
we'd
get
be stuck
impeached.
with JD Vance. And if we're not stuck with it, okay, but we'd still get JD Vance. And then
That's
if we're stuck
preferable
with
to
JD
Trump, to
Vance,
be
then we'd
honest.
get Mike Johnson. We'd still get Mike Johnson. Like,
Wait. It's preferable to have JD Vance to Donald Trump.
no, I'm saying if we lost Trump for whatever reason, we'd still get, I think, wouldn't JD Vance take over, or Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, that's still conservative, wouldn't he take over? How would that work?
Say that again.
So even if we lost, okay, let's say we impeached Trump and they removed him from office, wouldn't Mike Johnson take over because he's Speaker of the House? Isn't he conservative and Republican? So
No,
we would
the
still
vice
have,
president steps up.
okay, so then we would have JD Vance. And I
Yeah,
don't think he's done anything wrong either.
JD Vance would be better than someone like Donald Trump. Not to say that JD Vance would be like a good candidate in general, right? But that would be better than Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, then, sure. But like I said, I'm still not, I wouldn't support him because he's
wait,
president.
So let's clarify. Call for the impeachment of Donald Trump and don't support Donald Trump. Right? Is that like a good thing to ask for, maybe? Like, given that like it is the case that he's
Sure.
done these horrible things?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, so you don't support him anymore.
As a candidate, no. But like I said, he's still the president, though. Like, I'm not going to not support the president. Like, and when I mean support, I don't want him to fail. Does that make sense? I don't mean I necessarily
hold up.
I'm going to go advocate for him.
Okay, so to
and
clarify, this is what I mean
pump him
by
up. Woohoo.
this is what I mean by support. If you could go back in time, would you still vote for him?
No, probably not. I would go like third party.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. We'll take it. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
24. What's up?
Do you support Trump?
No,
Okay.
neither.
All right, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like this stream. If you're on TikTok, do tap that screen. It'll help get it out to more people. Let's go on to the next person real quick, everybody. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
What's your birth year?
2007.
And did you vote for Donald Trump?
No, because I was not of age during when I was able to vote.
Okay. So, and do you support Donald Trump? No?
I do support him.
Okay, why so?
Well, if you look at the different executive orders, for example, he banned men from competing in women's sports, and I had to think of some others. Wasn't think I was going to get selected. One of the biggest things is he's also trying to make it harder to access different explicit videos online.
No?
He's advocated to wanting to create or make it harder for those to
Accessed.
What are you talking about?
Like
No,
corn,
he's not.
basically.
No, he's not. Are you
I
talking
believe I
about the
read
thing?
somewhere.
Are you? Yeah, you're talking about the thing that Melania was trying to get through. That was the revenge corn thing. Yeah, that's
Trump
supported.
is also.
Yeah, that's supported by both sides. It's not unique to Trump.
So then another thing is like, so you don't like Trump's deportation.
Yeah, I definitely would prefer. What's it called? I would prefer. What's it called? Or it's for AI deepfakes. Yeah, that's considered revenge corn, probably. Sorry, repeat your question.
So you would say you wouldn't support Trump's deportation?
No, I would not support it. Actually, can I catch up? I'll let you say this in a second. I just want to catch up on all my donations. I haven't caught up on them. It's been a minute. Let me catch up on that on YouTube real quick. One second. Disgusted veteran, thank you so much for the $50 on YouTube super chat. Thank you so much for this. Boomer has mad respects for you, sir. Combating uneducated cultist maggots all day. After a day is commendable. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Ist, thank you so much for the $2. Dre, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Kiki, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. AP News, NPR, PBS, and Reuters. Woke, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Rachel, thank you so much for the $2. Samuel, thank you for the $2. And for the $10, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Are making a peace deal. Is that true? So yeah, they do claim that there is a ceasefire, but Iran, I'm pretty sure has confirmed, but there hasn't been anything from Israel confirming. And then Woke, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's crazy. All right. Let's go on. I have a few more people as well. Yeho, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Thank you, Roxy. Thank you for the $1. Erica, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's incredibly kind of you. Andrew, thank you so much for the $1. Thank you. As well as Deanna, thank you so much for the $160. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Can we get some W's for Deanna in the comment section right now? Thank you so much for the $160. Did this for Dean earlier too. Wanted to donate in honor of my first tariff. Recently I had to pay an import tax of $160 to UPS before they could deliver an item from Canada. Feel free to share this when you are talking about tariffs. Thank you so much, Deanna. I really appreciate it. That's actually diabolical. That's diabolical. Thank you so much, though. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Lucia, thank you so much for the 3 cents. Blue. Dylan, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Julie, thank you for the $5. Madison, thank you for the $10. Thank you. Griffin, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Thank you. Griffin, thank you for the $5. Thank you. I did. I definitely did. And thank you for the $10 as well. And then Colby, thank you for the $25. Thank you so much. All right. So why do you support Trump?
For many, like one of some of the executive orders he signed, for example, banning men from competing in women's sports. He signed an executive order to start a new program to get all unhoused veterans housed by
Oh,
2028.
hold up 1 second. I wanted to say one more thing. Gryphon, thank you so much, by the way. I think it was my third account that I didn't even go on. I didn't even know I did. I just went to check. But yeah, on the main I already did. Oh yeah, continue. You were saying, you said, so you're talking about, you think that you support Donald Trump just because he wanted to get trans women out of women's sports. Is it?
Well, I've also said like he started a new program to get all unhoused veterans,
Which one?
like Trump, like all. I don't know exactly what he is, but he wants to get all unhoused.
When has he talked about that?
I don't know. I heard that he started it.
Nope.
He also started Doge,
Nope.
saving over 160 billion.
That's definitely not itemized. Only 60 billion is itemized. And didn't Elon say that Donald Trump went against everything that he went for, specifically at Doge?
I didn't hear anything on that.
Yep, that's what he said.
Then what about like through the past several years, Trump has had many different Americans that were held hostage in different countries released. Then, like, those are some of the main big reasons why I support Trump is what he stands for.
What he stands for isn't not anything. That's not giving me an explanation.
Well, I do think, and I also really agree with his deportation.
Okay.
I feel like
Okay. So, what specific deportation policy?
just like getting all undocumented immigrants out of the country, and then if they want to come in, they have to come in through legally.
Oh, so you care about, following the law.
Yes,
Donald Trump's going to enforce the law, right?
for the most part, yes.
Do you know what app you're currently on?
TikTok, and I said that's right for the reason I said the most part, yes, is because he's pushing back the TikTok ban.
Yeah, meaning that he's not enforcing the law.
Yeah, and you're using this app too.
Yeah, and I think that's totally okay because I don't think that all laws should be enforced, right? Just because they're laws. So obviously, I can disagree particularly with the enforcement of the law, particularly in certain cases.
Yeah, and then what about with you're about saying the law is about Trump's conviction? I think legally it legally should not have happened. Because
Okay, why not?
the things happened in New York in 2017, and the New York statute of limitations say for cases like falsifying business records, after 5 years, you can no longer be convicted for it. Then he was convicted in 2024, which is about over 5 years.
Okay, so you're saying just because it passed the statute of limitations. So that no, they would have checked that in the case. You're saying you're mixing things up, right? There's no statute of limitations that applies specifically to falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a Class E felony in the state of New York, right? That would limit them from doing it. That's in a criminal court. The statute of limitations is the civil case for sexual abuse.
And if the cases happened in 2017, why do you think they just ran for him right before the election?
Repeat what you just said.
If all the cases happened in 2017, why do you think they went and tried to get him arrested and charged right before the election?
Why do they? No, because he did this. It's not just like people trying to get him. Why do you believe it's just some political thing? Why don't you believe it's just something that he did?
Well, he might have done it, but I think they were doing it right before the election because they didn't want him as the president. They wanted to do everything they could so Trump would not win.
Okay, so again, who's that?
Just all the different people anti-Trump.
Different people no, that's not how it works. So you know what, it's actually just, I think it's ridiculous that you just don't accept any criminal case because it's just gonna, like, you think it's just people who are against Trump. So you wouldn't accept it regardless of the evidence. You didn't look at any of the evidence. You're just assuming that it's wrong because Donald Trump did that, right?
Well, I'm not saying that it's wrong, but looking at I read like the statute of limitations. It happened over 5 years ago.
You're talking about for sexual abuse in terms of criminal cases.
I'm talking about the falsifying business records.
The falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a Class C felony in the city of New York, that's definitely not something that is already past the statute of limitations for. Appreciate the little crown.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Nope. Can you give me a single source indicating that? They left. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Why'd they run away? Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 19.
I don't believe you. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube. As well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, everybody. Let's go on to the next person here real quick. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Hello?
Hello.
Well, how old are you?
This is Cody. Yeah, I'm in Alaska. I'm 32.
Do you support Trump?
I do support some of the things that he's doing for Alaska, yeah.
Like, if you could go back in time, would you still vote for him?
Okay, I am on the fence. I will admit that, but the fact is
Hey, I would recommend you watching the live. I would recommend, if you're on the fence, just to watch the live. I am specifically just looking for people who, if could go back in time, would still vote for Donald Trump to get some debates here for today. But I would recommend watching the live. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
20.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your birth year?
04.
Okay. What month?
December.
Okay. So why do you support Trump?
Because I get a lot of overtime, and I get a lot of taxes taken out on that, so I heard he's gonna take taxes out on overtime. You got no taxes or
It's only a deduction. It's just a deduction.
right. Yeah, I like that. And the border.
Yes.
I like how he's
Wait, so clarify. Do you make under $130,000?
Yeah.
That won't help you then.
Okay. Well, I like how he's not having illegal immigrants.
Like net, the big beautiful bill will cause your taxes to go up. What'd you say you liked?
How he's not having illegal immigrants, like he's gonna stop that.
What's wrong with coming to the country undocumented?
Because we don't know who they are.
So then why would you want to deport people rather than just give them a pathway to citizenship?
Why can't they just do it the right way? Why do they have to just break in?
Because the legal process takes too long.
That's no excuse.
What do you mean?
Just because it takes a long time, that's no excuse just to break federal law and just break into our country.
Oh, you have an issue with breaking the law?
Yeah.
Why are you on an illegal app currently?
How is this a legal app?
The TikTok's banned in the United States.
No, it's not.
And yes, it is. And just Donald Trump's not enforcing it.
If it's banned, how am I on the app and how did I download it?
Because Donald Trump's not enforcing the ban.
Well, maybe he's trying. But if it's banned, then how am I on that?
Because he's not enforcing the ban.
Okay, well, it doesn't hurt me because...
So I'm confused. Do you understand that just because you violate the law doesn't mean it's wrong? That doesn't mean it needs to be enforced.
Violate it.
You're currently violating the law.
How?
Because TikTok is banned.
But if I go to the app store and it pops up for me, I didn't go on a VPN or I didn't try to go out of my way to get it without anybody knowing.
Okay.
It's up there for the
You
public.
are intentionally using an app that you know is illegal.
Um, but if it's up, then how's it illegal? How is it illegal? How's it an illegal app?
There is the TikTok ban. It is
Right.
banned, so it is illegal under the law. And it is the case that it's just not being enforced. Okay. There are plenty of laws on the books that are not enforced, right? And I'm saying just because there's a law specifically for it doesn't mean that it should be enforced in terms of people who are in the country undocumented who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes should be deported. I think that they should be given a pathway to citizenship.
So you're okay with people breaking into our country?
Yeah, so long as they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime.
They're
I think they should
committing
be
a
given a
crime by
pathway to
coming in
citizenship.
illegally.
I think they should be given a pathway to citizenship. I would prefer that they didn't have to break into the country and that they could just walk right through the door, right, really quickly.
Right. But them them coming into our country without anybody knowing and them doing it illegally, that's making them a criminal already.
It's not a bad crime.
It is.
The
We
same
have
way
no
that like
idea we have no
it's a
idea who
bad
they
crime.
are.
Why is it a bad crime?
We have no idea who they are.
Why does that
Why do
matter?
they have to come?
Why does that matter?
Why would it matter?
I'm asking you why that matters. Why it matters that we don't have documents.
Because what if they're already criminal themselves and we don't know that? So they're a
Okay,
criminal times two.
so you think that say they're more likely to have committed a crime? Well, actually, undocumented immigrants are multiple times less likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, and property crime in the United States compared to natural-born U.S. citizens.
So wait, can you say that again?
Undocumented immigrants are multiple times less likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, and property crime in the United States, right, comparative to natural-born U.S. citizens.
Okay, but
What?
you're not answering my question though.
What question?
That you do support illegal immigrants.
Who are in the country who haven't committed violent crimes or bad crimes? I think they should be given a pathway to citizenship. That's my view.
Why do you think they should be given that?
Because I don't think there's any good reason to deport them.
But they're taking jobs from legal citizens that are in this
How?
country that did the right way.
How? If they are given a pathway to citizenship, how are they quote unquote taking jobs?
What if they didn't get it yet? What if they have that job and they're illegal? They didn't get it yet.
What do you mean? So
I
you're
don't
saying
know
they're in the
how else
country undocumented? The reason why they're in the
Yeah.
country undocumented, right, if they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, is because of mass deportation. Right? Is because my particular position isn't upheld.
Okay, so why do you not like Trump?
Well, he was held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman. He said he would date a
Okay.
10-year-old girl in 10 years. He bragged about walking into the changing rooms of girls in Miss USA because he quote-unquote owns the place to inspect them without their consent. He said he had a Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. He said he'd be dating his own daughter if it wasn't his daughter. The policy he passed was destructive for the country. He didn't have a plan for health care, child care, housing affordability, lowering prices, anything.
So you don't like he doesn't lower prices? You don't like that?
He doesn't do that. If anything, he's going to cause the prices to go up here.
They're down in my state.
Well,
Gas
that's
prices
just
have
not
went
true.
extremely down. In my state, yes.
Well, gas prices didn't go extremely. They had a slight decrease for a bit, but now they're likely to increase because of what's happening.
Gas prices are under $3 in my state.
Okay. What's your point? That
That
doesn't mean that like
he did what he said he was going to do.
No, he didn't. He didn't cause groceries to
How?
go down in price.
But he said he was going to call. He can't do everything so fast. He did. He said he was going to cause gas prices
Give
to
him
go down.
time.
He did
Give him
that.
time, everyone. He still got it. He still has to give him time.
Okay, what do you like about
What did
Kamala?
he do to cause gas prices to go down?
That is something I don't know. But what do you like about Kamala?
Child tax credit increase $6,000 first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, $3,000 through them being 18, $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes, $2,000 cap on pharmaceuticals out of pocket, $35 cap on insulin per month for everyone, not just people who are on Medicaid or Medicare.
Hey, that's a lie. Okay.
What's a lie?
No, not what you said. But I think it was one of your mods. But
What'd they say?
I don't know if it was a mod, but it was somebody that added me.
And what'd they
They said
say?
that I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
It was so important that you had to say it on the live. What'd they say?
No, you know how like if somebody adds you and you hit the mentioned, it went away.
Okay. So then why'd you even say it on the live? You don't even know what the hell they said.
Well, I read it and then I forgot.
Okay.
Oh, they said that gas prices were under $3 when Biden was president.
Okay. Why did you just randomly read that comment and decide to say that on the live in the middle of our conversation?
You just asked me what they said.
Because you randomly brought it up.
Right. So now I'm telling you, and now you're getting mad at me because I read a comment.
Because I was trying to see if it was even relevant for you to have brought up in the very first place, and it clearly wasn't.
Well, you should have asked if it was relevant before I said it.
It should have been relevant before you even brought it up.
Well, what it wasn't. I just read
It wasn't exactly. That's the point, right?
So why did you ask me to read it or tell you?
Because I told you that it was irrelevant, so I wanted to hear just to say this because I thought that was ridiculous. But go for it.
That's a lame excuse.
Okay. Would you like to have a conversation with me, or do you just want to like talk about this on the live?
I actually do have one question. And I don't know if it's true or not.
Can we talk about the topic?
It is about the topic.
Okay, go ahead.
Kinda. Is it true that Charlie Kirk is like ignoring Dean to debate him again? Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
Why do you think that's true?
Can we talk about the topic?
Sir.
You want to give me something? Give me a policy of Trump's you like. Oh, he left. Bro, what, dude? What is going on, chat? What is going on? Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Hello? Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 76.
And do you support Trump?
I sure do, and I'll do it till I drop. And I probably ain't got that many years left. Don't bother me a bit. I know where I'm going when I leave here, Parker, and you better straighten yourself up.
What do you mean?
I'm telling you ain't gonna tell me nothing. I watch all kinds of news. I've listened to you, and I think you're a fine person. I ain't gonna say you're not. I think you got a good part of you that's good. But I think you're being deceived. I'm telling you right now, we have a good president, whether you want to believe it or not. All this stuff about Trump, it just keeps going and going and going. God forgives, Parker. Do you know that? He forgives no matter what. And he loves you, Parker. But I'm going to tell you right now, you got to start listening because you're taking yourself down a road you don't want to go. I ain't mean preaching to you now. I know what my age, I'm 76. I've lived a many, many years and through a lot of presidents. We've never had one that does and cares about the United States like Donald Trump. And you know that for a fact, but you won't admit it.
Really? How do I know that?
And Dean knows. I get on him too. I love Dean too. You boys ain't bad. You're good boys. I really believe that. Your parents growed some good boys. They just got to twist you a little bit and mold you.
Okay.
And I'm telling.
Okay, wait. So let's clarify. You said that we've never had a president that's cared this much about the country. What makes you think that?
No, I don't think so. Because look what he's done. I mean, the man could have got out a long time ago, Parker, and you know that. He had money, he had wealth, he didn't need all this crap. He's working for nothing. He gets no money for what he does. Nothing.
He actually does.
He didn't the last time either.
He actually does. He dropped a meme coin. His Truth Social stock is like half of his net worth.
Anything he does, it's worth it. Anything he does, it's worth it. The man goes up 24/7 almost all the time, and you know that for a fact. But yet you all get on here and say he doesn't. You all get on here and say how bad he is and what he's done to this country. He's helped this country. He took out those nuclear sites, not one person hurt. Now you think about it, Parker, what's going to happen down the road if those was left there? They done threatened us with it, death to America. They have threatened it so many times, and he took them out. They can't use that on us now.
Okay, so can I let you know something? Donald Trump is the reason why they had nuclear weapons in the first place, or had sorry, let me clarify. They didn't have they didn't have nuclear weapons. They had like we're talking about enriched uranium. So they bombed like nuclear facilities with enriched uranium, and that specifically, right? That you're saying that's limiting their ability to have nuclear weapons, right? Now, let me address this. They would have never been developing that in the very first place if it is the case that Donald Trump never pulled out of the peace agreement that we had with them, the nuclear peace agreement, where we had 24/7 surveillance of their different nuclear facilities, which is unprecedented access to their nuclear facilities in terms of information, in terms of monitoring from a third-party standpoint, comparative to any country in the history of the world.
Now let me address you. When he pulled out, there was Iran had nothing. They were broke. Biden and Obama sent them over $1 billion cash one night on a daggone, whatever you want to call it thing they had it on. Where do you think they got all that money to start this up?
First the galaxy.
And had Trump not got them out of here and got that stuff taken care of, we could have maybe a couple years down the road, they would have been using it on us. They done threatened it.
So I just want to let you know.
Now they've got a ceasefire.
Hold up. Okay, before you go in to talk about this, you know that like you have to know that the money that Iran got was just the sanctions, right? We limited the sanctions on them, and we unfroze their own bank accounts. We didn't give them money at all. Those $100 billion cash that we gave them, no, we didn't give them any of our money.
Did they hand it back to Obama?
What do you mean?
He sent the money over there. We seen it.
He didn't send it. He unfroze their bank accounts.
No, he sent it, and it was proved. I'm telling you.
He didn't send it. Where did you see this information? Facebook?
I've seen it on all kinds of different news places I watch. I've watched news for 70-some, well, not 70-some years, because I'm just now 76. But I'm telling you right now, down the road, you
Fox News? Did you watch Fox News? Newsmax?
No, I watch all of it. I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC.
Can you tell me one host from CNN or MSNBC?
Hooters or Reuters or whatever you call them. Hooters or Reuters.
Can you name one CNN or MSNBC host?
I don't care what their name is. I just listen to the news. I can't hardly see, and you want me to listen to all them names they give? They give you a different one every time one comes on. That don't bother me. I just listen, then I get on TikTok and I listen to you all, and I'm telling you, you got to quit spreading that stories like you do.
Like
God's not pleased. Hey, you be quiet a minute now, little boy. I'm going to come here and bust your hind end. Well, Lord forgive me, I ain't going to do that. I wouldn't do that. I would if it's my son. I got two of them. I got a son that drives a train, and I got one that works in a law firm. So, but I was just joking about that. But I'm going to tell you something. You better start thinking. I'm telling you, there's something coming in this world, and people better start opening their eyes and thinking, and they better leave Trump alone. He's trying. Why do people keep putting him down? I don't understand it. What can the man do? If he'd give us, everybody in this country, $1 million, he'd still call him a traitor. And you know where the trading and where the bad stuff came from, Parker. You know where it's coming from. I ain't going to say it. I ain't going to say it. I ain't accusing nobody nothing. I don't want nothing else on my conscience. But I'm going to tell you something. People better open their eyes, because I'm telling you, down the road, and it's not going to be far, you want to believe it or not, Jesus Christ is coming.
Okay.
And I know you don't believe
I have a question. Would Jesus cut food stamps?
What do you want?
Person that mustache. Would Jesus cut food stamps?
Well, you don't know that he wouldn't.
Really?
If it's
because when I grew up, the Jesus,
if-
I just want to let you know that when I grew up, the Jesus that I learned about when I grew up in a Christian
Let me
conservative
tell you
household,
something.
that
You remember-
Jesus actually spawned in free food from the sky.
But did you remember the story in the Bible about the Red Sea when his people was going over and that bunch was coming after him and Jesus got him out there and he closed up the Red Sea on top of them? Did they not perish? Oh, yes, they did. Read it up. Look it up. And it's a true story. Closed up the Red Sea and a whole bunch of them was going after his people and they were crossing the Red Sea and Moses throwed up his thing and they wouldn't stood there. When they come out to follow them over, they go the Red Sea just covered them over.
Okay,
That's
okay.
in the Bible.
We might as well talk about fucking Star Wars, dude. I genuinely I don't think there's good evidence to say that Moses existed. I actually don't think there is.
There is. Read the Bible. If you believe the Bible.
Yeah, the Bible is not good evidence, by the way.
That's where. Hey, let me tell you something about that. There was a woman just last. I don't know who she was. I don't know her name, but anyhow. For example, I just want to be clear. There are extra biblical sources that justify the existence of Jesus. The same types of sources that justify Jesus' existence do not exist to justify the existence of Moses. I just want to make that clear. That's where the wrath of God is coming down on people, Parker, whether you want to believe it or not. But anyhow, I'm not going to argue with you about it. I just want to tell you, I think about you. I pray for you.
And then I just want to address this first. So Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, that's going to cut food stamps, right? God literally spawned in manna from the sky, right? God would not support cutting food stamps, correct?
Listen, he is only cutting what is fraud. He's not cutting from people that actually need it, and Americans. He's cutting from fraud.
That's not true.
I know people
if it's fraud, if it's fraud, then why are there no criminal charges?
Listen, hey, I come from a poor family too, and I'm gonna tell you something. I know a lot of people get food stamps. You know what they're doing with them? They sell them. They take them, buy drugs with them. Well, mush or whatever you all call it, mugs. Anyhow, I know for a fact they do that, and that's what he's trying to stop. He's not trying to take them away from people that needs them. He's taking them away from people that's committing fraud.
Yeah, okay, so then why have there been no criminal charges filed?
What would they got to get them? That's what they're working on, getting the ones that's committing fraud.
Wouldn't you have to determine that they've committed the fraud, then you cut it?
Well, let me tell you.
Why would you cut it before you determine that it's fraud?
Well, because it's easy to do.
Really? It's really
there's
easy.
People getting thousands of dollars from food stamps, and I know a person right now is getting food stamps because you know what they did? They named it. They had a kid, and it was their dog. Getting food stamps for a dog. Now that is ridiculous, but that's what they said. Oh well, this is our kid. Hey, you got to prove they got that kid, or they can say, well, we got kids coming here to live, and we're keeping them.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Does the dog have a social security number?
No, but they ain't proved it. They say they've got kids, even like if I had a family member.
But you don't you have to have a birth certificate or a social security number?
A lot of them that committed fraud, and they can do it. How hard?
Wait, so to clarify, you know they're committing fraud, and you haven't told the cops?
Well, I haven't even seen them. How do I know they ain't doing it now? I'm not getting in the middle of that stuff. But that's going on every day. You might not have ever had to live.
Did you just admit to being an accomplice and holding information about a crime? Right?
I've never ever, and I used to get food stamps. I did get them. I got them when Biden. You know how much I got when Biden was in there? My husband passed away. Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
$30 from Joe Biden, $30, and then he took them. You know, you go on about Joe Biden. He is absolutely mental, and you know it.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I don't need to start crying.
No,
yeah, I lost
it's okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. How did Joe Biden? You said Joe Biden gave you $30.
I got $30 after my husband died because all we had was the stamps, and after he died, they took them. You know, they took them because I made too much money, and all I got was my husband's Social Security, which wasn't much of anything. Yeah, and don't say Joe Biden wasn't the one because it was about almost 3 years ago.
So wait, to clarify, that wouldn't be Joe Biden. That would probably be standards that were put in place by Republicans. I just want to clarify. That's not Joe Biden.
No, it wasn't standards. I'd got them since Joe Biden came in, and my husband died it was almost 3 years ago, this past May. He died.
I'm sorry.
And let me tell you something. I miss him every day. And when Joe Biden did that, you know, he's not for people he's not for good U.S. people. He's for foreign people, Parker, whether you want to believe it or
Wait,
not.
I'm sorry. I just want to be clear with you. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't do this at all, right? I have to be very clear with that. The qualifications you're talking about, right, have nothing to do with Joe Biden, right? That was set up by Congress, right? And Congress set that up probably based upon Republicans setting certain conditions on the policies. Now, to say that Joe Biden only cares about foreigners is crazy. What policy indicates that?
He always was. He didn't try to do anything with them but send them money. Let me tell you something.
Are you talking about Ukraine?
Last couple of weeks ago, and I had my insurance taken. I got Medicare, but I bought other insurance that I started paying on my own. I didn't ask them to pay it for me. I paid it on my own. And after I got it, it was about a couple of weeks after I got it, I had it up till, I don't know, it was about right before Joe got ready to get out of there. They took that from me, so I had to start paying again because they started paying it, and then I had to start paying it again. Well, just about a week or 2 weeks ago, I got my Social Security, and praise God, I'm not paying it now through the Trump administration, and that's a fact, and I ain't just saying it because it's Trump. I don't pay it now, and I get that extra $185 on my check, and trust me, Parker, I live hard. But God's been good to me, and I haven't complained about it. And I go every day, thanking God every day that Trump was in there and that I got that back. And it ain't.
Okay, I just want to let you know, Donald Trump didn't give you that money. Okay.
Yeah, Donald Trump was in.
What did he do? What did Donald Trump do to give you the money?
He's not the president. He signed in all things. Joe, if Joe been in there and I got it back, you would have said Joe did it.
No, I wouldn't. So to clarify, just because it happens under an administration does not mean it's caused by that administration. For example, do you think that Donald Trump caused under his administration COVID?
No, he didn't cause it.
Okay, so
but
exactly.
He helped it by getting the shot and stuff out there.
Hold up. So just because COVID happened under his administration doesn't mean he caused that. Also, by the way, is there a way you can get out of the hurricane?
Well, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. What about a hurricane?
Like, do you have like a fan on or something like that, or?
Yeah, because I don't have air conditioning in my house.
Is there?
I can't turn it off.
No. You don't have to turn off the fan. Is there a way you can move the phone out of like the microphone of the phone outside of like the, you know, where the what's it called is hitting, the fan is hitting?
I did.
Oh, perfect.
But I mean, you know, I ain't crying. I get emotional when I talk about my husband.
It's fine.
And I know God's been good to me. Not man, not Joe, not Trump. It's been God all the way through. But I'm just saying, Parker, I think you're a decent person. And I just think you all get too rough on Trump. And another thing that really bothers me, Parker, is when you always bring up this thing, what if he'd rape a 5-year-old? He's never done nothing like that. Why keep suggesting stuff like that? That's wrong. That's not right. That's wrong.
Actually, the specific just to clarify, the specific conditions I bring up were like if he went up to a 5-year-old and he said be dating them in 15 years. He did go up to a 10-year-old girl and said he'd be dating them in 10 years. So I just asked them what's the relevant difference between why they like view it differently in one scenario versus the other.
I've heard young men say that if they see a girl go by. I got a nephew. He's 30, 47 years old. And some girl went by about 15. He said, man, if she was my age, I'd date her. What's the difference in saying something? It ain't nothing like he means it. He was just saying how pretty she is, and it was like a friend of mine. She just laughed at him. But, and then you all make it look like it's really bad saying to. And I'm sure, Parker, if you tell the truth, you all said a lot worse than that down the road.
I have never fucking said that. That's fucking crazy. I'm sorry.
No,
you just admitted that. Wait. You think it's okay for adults to go up to 10-year-olds, kids that are in 5th grade, and say that they're going to be dating them in 10 years?
No, but he didn't say it like that. He said
That's what Donald Trump said.
To the kid. He said, no, look at it again, how he said it.
You want me to play the audio? I'll play the audio of Donald Trump saying it.
No, I don't want to hear it. I've heard it 100 times, but he did not
I'll
mean
play
it like
Donald
that.
Trump saying it.
I don't care what you play. I don't care because I don't care. If God forgives him, I forgive him because you know what? God told me if I can't forgive, he's not going to forgive me.
Wait, I have a question. Did God forgive Hitler?
No, not if you didn't ask forgiveness. You got to ask forgiveness to be
Oh,
forgiven.
wait. You know something crazy? Trump never asked God for forgiveness. Did you know he said
That's what
that?
he said. He says Jesus Christ all the time. A person that's don't.
No,
love
he
the
said
Lord,
he's
that
never
person
asked
say-
God for forgiveness. That's what he said himself.
One time he said that. How do you know he ain't yet?
Oh,
How
okay.
do
So
you know?
how do you know that he has?
I don't, but I'm just taking that he did.
Hold up. Listen here.
Up the escalator. I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
He said, I'm
So
going to
what
be
was-
dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
Well, so he ain't though, is he?
He said, are you going the escalator? The 10-year-old girl says, yeah. He goes, oh, can you believe it? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. And she goes,
Well, why do you keep bringing up stuff that's been on in the past, Parker? Is that all you all got that you can say to use
Everything
now?
we are speaking about right now is going to be
No.
about things that have happened in the past.
Well, you know what? And to me, and this is me, Jesus forgives your past. Once you ask forgiveness and you do not know that he has not asked forgiveness.
Wait, I have a question. Have you talked to Dean before?
Yeah, I've talked to Dean several times. I love Dean.
Yeah. Dean just texted me and said, wait, I might know Sharon. Ask her if she knows me.
Yes, he knows
if this
me.
person
Yes.
is the person I'm thinking of, they really like me for some reason.
I do like him. He's a good boy, but he's just misunderstood just like you are. I like Dean. I think he's a good fella, and I think he'll go far, but he needs to get out of what he's doing, and so do you.
What should we be doing otherwise?
Used to, you and Dean were my favorites because I thought you were more honest about stuff. You talk about stuff now. You don't keep bringing up the past. The past hurts people, Parker, whether you believe it or not. I had a past. My husband had a past. A lot of people's got past, but it hurts people. Don't you understand? You're hurting people when you keep saying stuff like that. If you want to talk about Trump, fine. Talk about today, the truth, not the
Hold on,
past.
I just want to clarify. Sharon, the reason why I bring up the harmful past that Donald Trump is engaged in is because I don't want people like that to be in positions of power where they're accepted by others in society, because then it reinforces cultural behaviors such as that to be normalized. Right? So it's harmful for people.
You need to read about his good past, what he's done for people, black people,
Like what?
white people.
Like what?
Trump has helped so many people. If you would just go into into it and look at it.
What did he do?
He's helped so many. He let that one black lady stay in his motel all them years because she had nowhere to go.
I would love to know who you're referencing, because you know that Donald Trump.
know her name.
I just want to let you know Donald Trump specifically didn't rent to black people in the 1970s.
It was his dad. It wasn't him.
No, it was him.
No.
That was literally determined by the investigation.
Did you know that Trump's
It
life,
was him.
now this is the truth, and you look it up, in his life as a young fella, Parker, he went to that, I don't know, you're probably not old enough to remember, a dance show on TV, and it was called, it wasn't 13, it was called Dance Something. It was for black people. And do you know Trump was there every time with the blacks dancing? Now, if he was
don't say that. Black people.
Well, what do you call them? That's what they said to say.
Hold up. Say black people, because black with the S at the end is actually like a dehumanizing term, especially that's historically been used in a bad way.
Well, I'm 76. I'm sure they'd understand. I got black people in my family that's married to my nieces. So I'm not prejudiced nowhere. But Trump
Just
went there,
because you know people who are black doesn't mean that you wouldn't hold any prejudice.
They're family. I don't know them. They're family. And I'm going to tell you, if you will look up that dance show, you'll see Trump right there with black people at that dance thing every week. He went there and danced. Now, if he's so prejudiced, why would he do that?
I'm sorry. Saying that Donald Trump has hung out with black people does not mean that he isn't racist, right? I can give you let me give you multiple examples, okay? Let me give you multiple examples. Donald Trump didn't rent to black people in the 1970s. He called for the execution of the Central Park Five, right? When they were exonerated based upon DNA evidence, right? That's another thing. He also popularized the birth movement, saying that Barack Obama was born in Kenya, right? And there's a birth certificate of him born in the United States as a mean to undermine him from being president of the United States. He also said that Kamala Harris turned black, indicating that she wasn't black prior, and said that Haitians in the country who were specifically eating cats and dogs, right? Which was just a complete lie.
And with the cat and dog thing, I heard the man say that right on TV. And then with the part where you just said Trump wouldn't rent to black people, when you said that, there was a black lady on the TV, and you look it up, it's on there. and she's testifying about it. She said, I was back then. She said, I'm going to tell you why he didn't rent to black people. Because black people back then mostly rented, and this is from her, by HUD, through HUD. Trump did, these places were very elegant and nice, and he did not rent.
No, I just want to let you. By the way, one, that's not the reason at all. You just like made this up, right? Specifically, wait, hold up.
May God strike me dead right
Hold
now.
up, just listen, Sharon, you just, yeah. Let me explain why.
I did not make that up.
Let me explain
You're
why.
lying if you say I made that up.
Okay, there were testers specifically, right, that that had the same set of qualifications in terms of income and everything, right, who are white and who are black, right? The people who are white specifically were told that there were openings. The people who are black were told that there were not openings. Okay, so that explicitly, right, is what we were referencing. Plus, there was the letter C that they would put on applications of non-white individuals, right, to specifically reference non-white individuals to then say that they shouldn't be rented to.
Well, you know what? You need to get online or Google, whatever what you want to do, and Google that about the black lady testifying to that. And
by the way, regardless of whether or not this would be true after that, doesn't change whether or not Donald Trump did not rent to black people.
I mean, you can't call me a liar because I am not a liar.
Well, because you were saying that was the reason as to why he didn't rent to black people back then,
That's what she said.
which is wrong.
That's what I said. As she said it. The black lady said it. And when I heard that, I thought, well, that makes sense.
Would you like to? Yeah, I would love to see specifically what you're referencing. But also, again, this is very clear. We have this information because the DOJ was holding him accountable, right, and had people test this specifically.
Oh my Lord! See, you always have an excuse for everything he does. Everything. That's the one thing bad. But I'm going to tell you something about somebody just said I was seen out. No, honey, I got more brains than they probably in my old foot and they have in their head. I don't have no senile in me. And they can just shut up whatever they're talking about there.
Or hold up, Sharon. Can I thank some people real quick?
Every time a person gets on here of age, these people, your young friends, oh my gosh, they're senile. They don't know what. Yeah, I know more than what they'll ever know. I know more.
Did you say the same thing when they said this about Joe Biden?
No, Joe Biden had a problem. He said he did. If you look at
okay, hold on. Can I thank some people real quick?
He had cancer a long time ago. And
No. He actually was diagnosed with cancer after he was after he already dropped out. Mental, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Compound, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Yes, it is. Woke, thank you for the $2. Raina, thank you for the $5. Thank you. Mental with the $5. Thank you. Pumpkin, thank you for the $2. Sid with this $100 on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much. I know, it's actually wild. Papa, thank you so much for the $10. Flip the Script, thank you so much for the $2. Ashley with the $2. Mike with the $5. Mental with the $5. Thank you so much. Aaliyah, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Banana, thank you for the $5. Michael with the $5. I really appreciate it. Matthew, thank you for the $10. Ashley with the $2. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. As well as Alex, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. AJ with the $5. Thank you. Catherine, thank you for the $11. As well as Macy, thank you so much for the $3. And Danielle, thank you for the $5. Shannon, thank you for the 69 cents. Ashley with the $1. Pierre Day, thank you so much for the $5. Darling, thank you for the $2. I really appreciate it. As well as Jay, thank you for the $3. And Marie, thank you so much for the $5. All right, everyone. As well as if you want to support me, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. But if you want to support me in a way that's free, make sure to like the stream on YouTube, subscribe if you are new, as well as you can tap the screen here on TikTok. Let's try to get to 1 million likes, and also follow me here on TikTok if you haven't already. But yeah, go ahead, continue. You were saying, Sharon?
Okay, Parker, I'm getting off here because your little buddies, they like to make fun of older people.
Hold up. I will tell people, don't make fun of Sharon.
It don't matter. I don't care about those people. Those are brat kids is all they are.
Kids. Description. Thank you so much. So then, Lauren, thank you so much for the description. So then you should have a conversation with me, and you shouldn't worry about them, right?
Well, you know what? God's going to show those kids. God's going to open up their eyes, and they're going to hate it when the wrath of God comes down, because it'll come. And yeah, I'm crying. I'm by myself, and I live by myself, and I stay by myself. And I miss my husband. That's why I'm crying, not because of these little comments. That don't bother me a bit what these little smart things are saying, because they're going to answer to God. They ain't going to answer to me. They're not going to answer to you, but they will answer to God. I promise you they will answer to God. And when it hits them, they're going to remember me telling them this. Yeah, I cry. I sound funny. But you know what? I don't care what they think of me. I know where I'm at. I know what I am. And I know if Jesus comes right now where I'm going, can they say the same?
Sharon, can I ask you a question? So, do you think that you say you don't want people to be rude? How do you feel about the fact that Donald Trump had a rude name for every single person he was running up against?
That was wrong, but I believe he's asked God to forgive him, and I believe he's changed. I believe today.
How do you know he did?
I just believe it in my heart. That's
just-
how I feel. God could have showed me that. I don't know, but I believe it in my heart. He's changed. But nobody wants to give him a chance. But if he's helping people now, why do they keep putting him down? Why? Joe didn't do that. All he would do was send them money. That's it. And give them free stuff. That's it.
So to clarify, you wanted to fight on behalf of Israel in terms of Iran. You were willing to do that in terms of an offensive conflict.
Yes.
But you weren't
yes.
willing to defend Ukraine from being invaded by Russia?
I wanted to stop, period. Both of them. Stop.
Okay, but like it didn't stop even though you cut the funding. You just gave Putin more power in the region.
Because he kept asking for, Parker, was money. Money.
Yeah, because that's the way that we could defend them.
That's it. That's the only way Joe could do it, was send them money. And Kamala too.
Kamala. And yes, that's
it's Tommy to me. I don't care what.
So like that's how you were supposed to defend them. How else were you supposed to defend them?
Not with money. Why take away from the United States? These people here need it. We got people living on the streets.
We have something called the Budapest Memorandum. Also, you were okay with using U.S. funds to fund Israel's offensive war.
No, well, you know what? Let me tell you something about Israel. That's God's chosen people, whether you want to believe it or not. And the Bible says that.
But we need the money here at home. We need the money here at home for the Americans.
I got a granddaughter that's getting married right now that lives in Vegas.
We need money. We need money here at home.
Her boyfriend's husband.
Okay,
her
for sure.
boyfriend's dad is Jewish.
Okay.
He's 80-some years old. Let him tell you about the Holocaust. He lived there when it was going on. And it wasn't a pretty thing. I got pictures of the true Holocaust and what happened to those people, the Jews. Yeah, I wish you could look at them pictures I got, didn't you?
Yeah, Jewish people. So, like, of course, yeah, like, I don't deny the Holocaust. I definitely acknowledge the Holocaust in the history of anti-Semitism, right, especially all around the world. That doesn't mean that you should support the state of Israel committing genocide in Gaza.
They didn't start that war, Parker.
Wait. So what are you talking about? You understand?
They were fired on first, not with maybe when it first started. They fired on Israel. Israel did not start that.
Do you think that there are illegal settlers within the West Bank?
I think there are illegals everywhere, to tell you the truth.
No, I'm saying, are there illegal settlers, illegal Israeli settlers in the West Bank?
I don't know. I'm not going to say yeah or no because I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not no scholar.
Well, absolutely there is.
Like
All right, there's also apartheid, because there is difference in treatment in terms of the law of Palestinians and Israelis within the context of within the context of Israel and Gaza, right? So like you understand that like people there's a difference between the type of law that's applied to Palestinians and Israelis. So that's definitely considerably apartheid, right? Along with the fact that we can point to right conditions that you would consider to be antithetical to what Christians should support, right? As I'm referencing the cutting of food specifically to the region from going into the region. That's not what Jesus would advocate for.
No,
you can say all. You can say all.
Over there.
What's that?
They sent when they was having war. Well, I don't know if you can call it war, just shooting at each other. I don't know how you call it, but and Israel sent food over there to Gaza for the people.
No, they were blocking food.
And let me ask you this now: have you seen the people now? I mean, this is the last 2 or 3 days where the Iranians are getting on there talking and glad of what Trump done. Happy because they said the regimen that was doing this was not what they approved of, and they were torturing them and tormenting them too, and they want rid of it. Now this is from the Iranians. It's there, and it's right on the thing. You can look it up, Parker. And if anybody calls me a liar, I'm through the liars because it's on there. And they said they was glad. This one man said the regimen said Israel wasn't fighting the people. Said he's fighting the regimen just like we are. Now look it up. Now tell me.
Although I can acknowledge that I definitely disagree with the regime, particularly within Iran, right? I can also acknowledge that like we shouldn't have engaged in the conflict. And if you're saying specifically that it is the case that we shouldn't be engaging around the world because we need to take that money here at home, I'm confused as to why you're justifying it now here with Iran.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you the Iranians are. They're happy. They're glad. They want rid of them. And they're glad that nuclear stuff's been knocked out of whatever, you know? I don't know nothing about nuclear. I just know what I hear, and I'm telling you what I hear. People can get on here and call me a liar and say I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know what I'm talking about. That's one thing I got is a good mind.
I have a question. Did you believe, right, in the early 2000s that they had weapons of mass destruction in the Middle East, and that was a reason to invade them?
Yeah, I believe some of them did.
You did?
Yeah.
So then why'd you buy the same lie that was, given in the past?
I ain't buying no lies. It's gone.
That wasn't. Wait. Donald Trump himself called that a lie. He said they did not have weapons of mass destruction in the past.
Okay, but I'm not talking about them. Didn't they say that Russia and China was able to make them? Didn't they say that?
Yeah. So
Well,
Russia
that's
and
what
China
I'm
was.
talking about.
Wait, Russia and China is able to make what? Sorry, you cut out.
What we're talking about. I don't know what to say on here because people, every time I do, I get banned.
You'll be fine.
So they said they made I don't know why they could do it, but they said they could make what you just said, uranium or stuff to do the bombing with. Said Russia and China was able to make it. Now, if they was making it then, they're still doing it. They say they have nuclear weapons. So yeah, it was there. Maybe not with Iran, but it was with Russia and China. I just read that yesterday or day before yesterday.
That Russia and China have nukes, of course. So I understand that, but that doesn't. I'm confused what this point is making.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when we're talking about Iran, right, Iran specifically, right, they're claiming that they have weapons of mass destruction as a reason to then go to war with Iran, right? That specifically was used in the past as propaganda and misinformation to be able to justify the U.S. involving itself in the Middle East. So I'm just saying, if we understand that it was a lie in the past, why wouldn't it likely be a lie now?
Well, I'm just going by what they say. If they got it, they got why they're lying about it. If it was then, if it was true now, how come you can't say they didn't have them back then in 2000? You can't. We don't know. So why would it be a lie? You really don't know. Maybe Iran or whatever, maybe they didn't have it. But you don't know about Russia and China.
Russia and China in terms of what? Well, I'm confused.
Having nuclear stuff.
We already know that they have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, I'm confused what your point is with that. So, like, what's your point?
Well, you said that why would I support something like if they didn't have it? Well, I'm not saying it was Iran. I'm just saying they did have it over there. Somebody, China and Russia, is over in the Middle East or whatever you want to call it. I'm not with places, you know what I mean? I don't keep up with all that. I just keep up with what's going on in the news. And I do watch it every single day.
Okay.
Something. It's all over the TV. You can't miss any of it.
All right.
And half of it's lying, half of it you might believe, half of it you can't believe because it sounds like a lie. But I'm just saying, if you got a president that even cares about the United States, you better be pulling for him and quit putting him down. Because there ain't nobody else done it in the past. That really cares.
Sharon, we're back into the like the fan. Is there a way you could move the phone out of the way of the fan?
Wait a minute. It's just I had my niece bring it over because I didn't have my electric went out, and God put it back on in about 20 minutes, and they told me to be 2 hours. So see how good God is to me. I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I out of the fan? Parker, I'm gonna get off here. I do.
Okay. All right.
Want you to know, I do love you. I don't hold no ill feelings, but just pray about it. If you don't pray, I don't know if you ever pray in family or not, but I pray they pray for you. But I love you and I love Dean. You're all my favorites. And I'm sorry if you're a fan. Don't like my crying, but I'm very emotional when it comes to my husband.
Sharon, you're totally okay. I appreciate you coming up,
Well,
Sharon.
you have a blessed day, Parker, and I will be praying for you, hon. Don't worry about me. You're a good person, and I really believe that.
You as well, Sharon. Have a good night, Sharon.
Okay, hon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream for the 3,000 people in here. Make sure to like the stream if you haven't already. If you're on TikTok, do tap that screen. Try to get to 1 million likes. If you're on YouTube, like the stream. Let's try to get to 1.5 thousand likes, everybody. 1.5 thousand likes. Let's go on to the next person here real quick. Only do send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Only do send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Again, if you want to support me as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Maudie, thank you for the $4.20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Alex with the $5. Thank you. Courtney, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I absolutely agreed with that. Morgan, thank you for the $5. Macy, thank you for the $3. Thank you. Richard with the $10. Thank you. Thank you. Mental, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Matthew, thank you for the $10. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump, everybody. Let's get the next person up here real quick. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream. If you're on TikTok, do tap the screen. And also make sure to follow me if you have not already subscribed. If you're new, it is absolutely free to do so. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Hello?
Hello. My dad's gonna speak, so.
Okay. And does he support Trump?
Absolutely.
For sure. Why so?
He's a great president, number one.
Why so?
He did tons of things that Biden did not do. Number one, securing the border, the southern border. Obviously, you've seen the results from last month where there was 0 individuals that crossed that border. We had millions of people, estimates from 10 to 12, even as high as 20 million people that came into this country unvetted. And if we don't think there's going to be something that is going to be detrimental to this country from an economical perspective, and with a terrorist attack that's going to happen, it is imminent. It's going to happen. And then I support Trump just simply because of the common sense items that he ran on. LBGTWXYZ 1 2 3, maybe you, maybe me, but not me. That there are only 2 genders. I know that.
It's, by the way, LGBTQ. It's honestly not that many letters. It kind of makes you seem ridiculous, given that you can't remember like 5 letters. But like,
well, yeah, but there was some embellishment with that. You understand that. You know that. I know that. LBGTQ.
I mean, it doesn't make you look like smart or make you look like you're making a good point when you purposefully misrepresent it.
No, absolutely not. I'm not misrepresenting it.
You are, but like, so okay. So let's.
If you feel that way, I won't misrepresent anything else as we converse back and forth. I'll keep it clean and straight to the point.
Sure. Okay. In terms of the border, what specific border policy of Donald Trump's do you support?
He didn't do anything. That was the key. Congress and the Democratic Party was saying that we need to adjust the laws. We need Congress to pass more laws. We need to add more border patrols. We need to do more of this. We don't need to build a wall. But all it took was a different president. And that was it. There were no policy changes. The only change that took place was that Donald Trump entered the White House and Biden left.
So that's not a reason to indicate that Donald Trump did anything to like benefit the country.
Okay,
Evelyn, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. Go ahead. You're saying?
I said I'll go back to what I said earlier. Last month there was 0 people that came in from the southern border. 0, unheard of number. Absolutely.
Wait, there was not 0 people that came through the southern border. Can you please tell me your source for that?
Every news source you can imagine, from the Democratic leftist CNN, MSNBC.
Okay, you're totally trolling.
Today, I absolutely am. I absolutely. Does he do it? Now, let me be clear. Does Trump do everything right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But between the two that were running for the office of the President of the United States, which was Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, I saw Donald Trump do some spectacular things in the previous 4 years that he was president. And I've never seen Kamala Harris do anything. And as we were told...
So what policy did Donald Trump do that was spectacular?
Listen, I'm an African-American. We'll put it this way, I'm a black man. And I'm a black man that voted for Trump. As you know, 34% of the black population voted for Trump. 27% of black men voted for him. 7% of black women voted for him. There was something that we saw different in Donald Trump than Kamala Harris, who was supposedly a black woman,
supposedly
a black
you
woman.
don't think she's a black woman?
I mean, you tell me. She originally said she was.
But before you go into this, I just want to say one thing before you do. Border Control did catch 9,000 undocumented entries last month, so I just want to clarify that.
But zero came into the country. They absolutely caught them, but zero came into the country. That's what I'm saying. Zero. Zero came into the country. There were no.
Where did you get that source? That's just not true. That's just not. Actually, again, what I just showed you was indicating that's not true. But you can continue with what you were saying.
Okay. So, what did you say? I was talking about Kamala, or however you pronounce her name. I know that was one of those things that was going on. But yeah, I Trump.
Yeah, you said that she wasn't black, or that she wasn't a woman.
Well, you tell me what a woman is. Democratic Party has such a hard time describing what a woman is. I always say, did you have a mother? Then that's a woman. Yeah, she was a woman, most definitely. At least from what I can see. We'll put it that way. Because in this day and time, you never know.
What? So a woman's an adult human that is committed towards the social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex. Now, in terms of that prescription, right, that would absolutely apply to Kamala Harris.
Okay, that's good.
The fact that you put any type of cloudiness on her being a woman is crazy. That's one thing. Two is always this: do you agree that Kamala Harris is black?
I'm not. See, that's not what I'm saying. Let me be very clear. It was what was said that the Democratic Party had a struggle with defining what a woman was.
No, I didn't. I just defined it for you.
Well, okay, very good. Well, that's not what was in the news. It was many a time. What was the Supreme Court justice that, what's her name? The black woman, I cannot think of her name.
You're saying Ketanji Brown Jackson. Also, having a definition for woman is not necessary to understand what a woman is, and I will explain to you why. Right? The reason why it's not necessary is because typically when we're referencing ordinary things within our lives, right, we're referencing, what a man is, what a woman is, what a chair is, what a table is. There's not going to be a definition that's applicable in every single scenario, right? We're going to be using different definitions that apply depending on the context. Right? That's how we're using these terms. So, for example, what a chair is, what a table is, it's going to be different depending on the context of the scenario, right? Certain scenarios, right, it will be something that has 4 legs, and certain scenarios, it could just be a floating table, a floating ledge, all right? And we would consider that a table still if it's, if people are, eating dinner off of it or something, we would consider that a table. So again, it just depends on the context in certain scenarios, how we're using the term. There's not a one size fits all definition for everything always, right? And also someone doesn't need to know that in order to know what they're referencing in terms of the Supreme Court. Could you tell me, are you Christian?
Absolutely.
Do you know what a man is?
Yes, I do.
What's a man?
I am.
That's not a response. What is a man? What's the definition?
Absolutely, I'm a man.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you who is a man. I'm asking you. I'm not asking you if you are a man. I'm asking you what is a man.
A full-fledged Homo sapien male of the male gender.
Okay, so then when I was a boy, an infant, right? I was a man.
There's the Greek word which is called anthropos.
So an adult. I was going to tell you to say that as well.
Let me finish. Let me finish. There's the Greek word that is called anthropos. Anthropos is defined in our language, in the English language, as man, M-A-N. In that Greek word, it is defined as a man, a woman, a boy, or a girl. Now, I said I was a full-fledged Homo sapien male. In the Greek, that word is aner, A-N-E-R, and that means the male factor, the male gender. So I am of the male gender.
Okay, so to clarify, God the Father, is he male?
God the Father and the Holy, let's finish it. God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They consist of the Godhead. They are not a man nor a woman. They are of spirit, nature.
So not a father?
When you say father, are you speaking as a father who
Is there a non-biological sense of father?
he is my father from a spiritual perspective.
Okay, so then again, then there are definitions, right, that relate to gender, like such as father, that aren't solely biologically determined.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay,
right now,
so then it seems like people
Let me
do.
finish. Let me
It seems like
finish.
people do know what a woman is when they're referencing in a social context.
From a spiritual perspective, yes. So let me ask you this:
Go ahead.
are you a man?
Yes, I am.
Okay, very good. Are you a male?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, so Kamala Harris is a woman, correct?
Mm-hmm.
She's a female.
She is biologically female, yes.
Me and you are on the same page. Wow, we went through all that for nothing. We're on the same page. There are folks in the Democratic Party
Let me clarify. Let me
answer
clarify.
that question.
Wait, to clarify. That wouldn't be indicating that she's a woman, but it is also true. She's a woman and she's biologically female, and I'm a man and I'm biologically male. Right? I'm confused. We're not denying the existence of cisgender individuals such as myself.
No, I didn't say that. I just said you and I are on the same page.
Okay. Well, let me ask you the question. Do you think that Kamala Harris is black?
I don't know what she is. I would have to.
You don't know if Kamala Harris is black?
I would actually have to ask Kamala Harris, is she black?
You would, in order to be able to tell if Kamala Harris is black, you would have to ask Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you have to ask?
I know some biracial. I know biracial folks right now.
Well, I just want to. I'll play a video right now of Kamala Harris telling you that she's black. Given that you can have a video of her saying that she's black, will you then acknowledge it?
Okay, and very well. I could find the video where she says she's something different than black.
Oh, okay. So she's black and she's Asian.
I don't know.
Yes.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that she is.
Let me clarify.
I'm just saying
Her mom is Indian and her dad is Afro-Jamaican. So she's both black and she's also Indian.
So what makes her black?
The fact that her dad is Afro-Jamaican.
So she's Indian.
She's Indian and Afro-Jamaican. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you?
What am I? In what respect?
Yeah. What are you? What are you? I mean, what is your ethnicity?
Ethnicity, sir.
Ethnicity. Thank you for the correction. Go ahead.
For sure. Yeah. I think I'm British and like Western European.
Western European and British. Okay. So what do you claim?
Well, are you asking in terms of my race? Like I'm white? Is that what you're asking?
On documents, where they say Hispanic or Asian or white or African American.
Yeah, I mark white.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, good. So, but you're British and you are. What'd you say again? You're British and what?
British Western European.
British and Western European. Mm-hmm. So you select white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Bryson, do you know the difference between race, nationality, and ethnicity?
Yeah, I absolutely do, and I'll tell you this: that we are all of one.
Give me one moment.
Wait, let me finish.
All right.
Let me finish.
Oh, I said give me one moment. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Parker.
We are all of one race. It does not matter. That's the part that drives me insane about this country and how we are divided because of race. And we are clearly all of one race. Matter of fact, the Bible clearly said we're all of one blood. So I'm confused about the fight over it. It just boggles my mind.
Sir, that's a really bad echo.
I hear that.
There we go.
It's good.
All right, we're good? Okay.
Yep. Oh, so actually there's a bit of an echo still.
Oh, I thought so. Good God, that is so
It's not too bad though. I honestly think it's totally fine.
Okay, as long as Chad is okay with it. Hi Parker, how are you today, by the way?
Doing good. How about you?
All right, fantastic. Glad to hear it. All right, no. So, Mr. Bryson, obviously you don't understand the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. All right, because if you did, you would understand that your race is based off of your phenotype, so how you present to the world. Now, Kamala Harris is phenotypically black, would you say?
True.
Okay, all right. Her father is Afro Jamaican, which means he's a black Jamaican. And her mother is Southeast Asian. All right. So, therefore, Kamala Harris, who identifies phenotypically and also culturally as a black woman, is in fact a black woman. Would you agree with that?
True.
So, why are you
I
here
agree.
questioning her race?
I thought I just gave some clarity to it. I
You
said we
didn't
are
actually
all.
provide any clarity.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some clarity now. If you allow me to speak, can I do that?
I don't know. Parker,
Okay.
can he do that?
Go for it.
Okay. So it's very, very, very clear that we are all of one race. We are all of one blood. And I say that because I wouldn't live if someone decided to put a baboon's heart in my chest. I wouldn't live very long because the blood does not work. I can't take the blood of a baboon and put it in my body, nor can I take my blood from my body and put it in a baboon and it lives. We are all of one blood and we are all of one nation. Therefore, that makes us all of one race. The divide in this country is astonishing to me over race. And I believe it is absolutely calculated. I believe that there are structures in place to create that divide and that division, that separation between us when it deals with the color of our skin. It's crazy to me. Obviously, in the United States of America, most definitely. It drives me insane. I don't understand it. I
Sir,
don't understand it.
you just said a lot of nothing. To be honest, you just said absolutely nothing. All right. Not even like in order for us to even have any type of organ transplants, we have to ensure that the next person that we're getting it from, their blood matches ours. All right. And then this human race thing, I mean, we have a whole system designed based on race here, especially in Western society.
Yeah, I just said that. And that's the travesty that we live in the United States of America, most definitely.
But don't you think it's idealistic of you to try to, especially as a black man, to try to negate that race is a thing that exists in this world?
I'm not
I
negating it.
you
I'm
kind of
absolutely
are.
no. How can I negate it? Obviously, you are a black female, and there's no way I can
A
negate it
black woman. Yep.
because black woman, female, whichever one you want. Anywhere I go, I'm going to be black, and anywhere you go, you're going to be black.
Yep.
And as the gentleman just said, he's of Western Europe, he's British. Anywhere he goes, he's going to be white. So I will never negate the fact that I am a black man, a black male. So no, I don't do that. But I try to eliminate that fight because it's senseless to me. It's
You
senseless to
don't,
me.
but you don't get to decide you don't get to decide how other people perceive you though. So you don't get to do that. So eliminating that fight actually doesn't make any sense. But I want to get off of this. I want to ask you a question because you did vote for Donald Trump. How has conservatism actually served you in your life? Like, how old are you?
I'm 60. We'll soon be 64 years old.
Oh, that's what's up. I'm almost 60 myself. I get it. So we're close in age. That's what's up. With that being said, how has conservatism actually served you?
I'm generally an independent. I voted Democrat before. Ideally, I vote for sensibility, what makes sense to me, how it will best aid me and my family. I will generally vote based off sensibility. And I couldn't understand the left and have not been able to for the last 4 years. I just couldn't understand it. For the life of me, I didn't understand.
That is amazing to me that you said that you voted off of sensibility. What was sensible about Donald Trump and his campaign? The man who said that Hispanics have bad genes. He said that. The man who, again, just like you did here on Parker's Live, questioned Kamala Harris' blackness. All right, the same man who got on a debate stage in front of millions of Americans and still said that the exonerated five are guilty and actually unalived the victim when that woman is living her best life despite what was done to her. Like, what part of him is actually sensible? The man who did not present any type of policy, the man who faced many of trials and was actually found guilty of 34 felony counts. Like, what is sensible? We don't even have to mention E. Jean Carroll. What was sensible about Donald Trump?
Well, this is what I learned. I learned something a long time ago that we all live in glass houses, and there's no sense in throwing stones. Does Donald Trump make mistakes? And
No, we can't hear you currently. Just letting you know.
has Donald Trump made mistakes? And will he make more mistakes? The answer to that question is we know it. Yes, everyone that's listening here knows it because we've all made mistakes at some point in time in our life. And I'm sure that Donald will make more mistakes as the 47th president of the United States of America. I know that.
But that doesn't answer my question, Mr. Bryson.
Let me finish.
Okay, you got it.
So I learned a long time ago to quit throwing stones because he's subject to making a mistake just as well as Joe Biden did. Joe Biden, if I was to determine, it was spoken so harshly about Donald Trump that he was a racist. And I thought to myself, wow, that's crazy. How is that possible? Do you know in 1984 and in 1988, a black man ran for president?
Oh.
Look at God. Would you look at God?
What just happened? Did he just leave?
He
didn't
just
even
left.
didn't even give me a message. He just left.
Yeah, he probably got, I don't know. He maybe got one, but yeah, look at God. That was God telling him that he was wrong. God trying to tell him something. I was like, tell us, please, how is Donald Trump more sensible than Kamala Harris? That man is out for retribution on every single front. That's not a sensible person.
By any means.
None.
It's actually ridiculous, especially like as of recently, trying to call Donald Trump sensible after what's going on a global stage right now is actually diabolical. Like, there's no way you can like scroll on his True Social and be like, yeah, this guy's sensible.
Exactly. Like today, he releases that Israel and Iran have reached a ceasefire deal in the 12-day war. The thing that he didn't call a war, but it's now the 12-day war. All right. And Iran and Israel are like, they haven't said anything. Like, he's not sensible. He can't wait. He's impulsive. He's narcissistic. He's just like all of the bad things. Like, he's the man that we tell our daughters to look out for. Like, don't date him, girl. But yeah, but thank you for having me, Parker. I appreciate you.
Always cool
Right, have a great day.
Good seeing you.
Bye. Oh, wait, one more thing.
Go
I'm
ahead.
so sorry. I have to log into my video, my Venmo, but thank you so much. I know to Brittany and I think it was Katie. Thank you guys so much for the love. I appreciate y'all. If y'all will, drop some hearts in the chat form. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Parker.
Of course. Appreciate you coming up. Everyone get some W's for Erica in the comment section right now. Make sure to follow Erica if you have not already. W's for Erica in the comment section right now. We're going to start getting some more debates up here. Only do send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Let me make sure I catch up real quick. Maudie, thank you so much for the $4.20. Thank you so much. I will once I get the next guest up. Abigail, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hannah with the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Give me some W's for Hannah in the comment section right now. Teresa, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. Of course, as always. Chloe, thank you for the $1. I'd probably say blue. Jeanette, thank you so much. I appreciate the $2. Thank you. I'd have to see what they say. And then also let me catch up. I need to catch up on YouTube. I get so far behind when it comes to the YouTube. Let me go to the next person real quick. Only do send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Let me say thank you to some people real quick and catch up real quick. If I do miss anyone, I do apologize. I just want to say I do apologize. Alrighty. Ashley, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. Ann with the $2. Thank you. H, I really appreciate the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Love you. I really appreciate the $5. Thank you so much. I think that's for the last guess. That's the last guess. Jen, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Richard, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. Mental, thank you for the $5. Sour with the $2. Thank you. Evelyn with the $5. Jen with the $5. Thank you. Kaya, thank you so much for the $15. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Ernesto, thank you for the $2. Thank you. H with the $5. Evelyn with the $5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Mental with the $5. And then Lovey with the $20 two separate times. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Pig Organs. Show a great stimulatory to humans organs and are even using some medical procedures. So are pigs now considered human? If not, literally the Ebony, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how he would be defining it. It depends on them. Last time I got I said this, I got in trouble. We are, but saying, yeah, it's crazy. It is totally harmful. You should not be getting in trouble for that. That's just reality. Evelyn, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Why did Tulsi Gabbard only say 3 months ago that Iran was not making nuclear weapons? I think that I think that she even says now that, doesn't she? I think that's because she disagrees with Trump. She's like she takes an anti-war perspective. Yo, what's up, how old are you?
Hello?
All right, let's go on to the next person. Only sending guest requests if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up, how old are you? How old are you? Let's go on to the next person. Did Parker say last call? No. I have. Did I accidentally? I might have accidentally. Sometimes I accidentally say things. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. If you're MAGA, you want to debate. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, I'm 19.
Do you support Trump?
I do support Trump.
Okay. What's your birth year?
2006.
What month?
June.
What day?
What?
What day?
Dude, this is 17th. I'm 19, bro.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay, so why do you support Trump?
Well, it's a long story, but honestly, I just think he's the right guy for the job.
Why?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, can't you tell?
I'm waiting.
I mean, like, honestly, like, if you just look at all the things he's been doing for us, I mean, even recently with Iran, bombing Iran is just, like, one of the greatest things that we could have done recently.
Why?
And also, like, I mean, he may have said things in the past that contradict what he does now, but, I mean, if you look at it, it just makes sense.
How so? Like what?
Well, why don't you tell me?
Are you trolling?
No.
Do you want to give me something on?
I did.
You didn't?
Bro, did you not hear what I just said?
You didn't provide anything of substance yet. So would you like to give me something of substance, or?
I feel like substance is subjective.
Like a what do you mean by believe statement. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to join.
Oh, you're good. You want to know something that's crazy, chat? If Jordan Peterson in that debate were someone that like comes up on my live stream, like from the chat, I would have kicked him off the stream because I would have thought he was trolling. Like just thinking about it now that I look back on it, I would have thought he was trolling. Like if someone said that on the live stream, I would think they're trolling. Like I actually literally would have kicked him because I would have thought he was a troll. Like that's crazy. That's how insane his position was. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hi, I'm 18.
And do you support Donald Trump?
My birthday is June 9th. I do.
And did you vote for Donald Trump?
Okay, so I wasn't old enough to vote at the time, but
That's fine.
I do support Trump.
Yeah, just making sure. So why do you support Trump?
Okay, so I prioritize national security. By the way, is this recorded?
Yes, this is.
Okay, so I prioritize national security, so that would be referring to porn, and I'm a great
I have a question. What state do you live in?
So I live in New York, although I was born in Ohio, Columbus.
Okay, so I have a question. Can you name 3 cities in New York?
Yeah, Yonkers, Buffalo, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan.
Okay.
That was like 5.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah,
Go
so I
ahead.
grew up in another country, so I get why you would ask that. But I'm a natural born American citizen.
What time is it?
9:25. I completely understand why you're asking these questions.
No, I thought
But
you
I prom
I thought you had a UK accent. So
no.
yeah. So
So
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, so I prioritize national security. So that would be relating to border and immigration. So it's more of a rhetorical question, but how do we balance humanitarian immigration with national security, and then also like immigration in general? How do we balance immigration with public services as to not create a strain on public services?
So sorry, you said what creates a strain on public services?
The crazy amount of immigrants that came into the country in the previous term. I think it was like more than 12 million.
Okay, so you're saying 12 million people came to the country. One, that's just not true. You're talking about encounters. And not encounters do would be categorized as people coming into the country. And secondly, even if that were true, what's wrong with that many amount of people coming to the country? I think that's totally fine, actually.
It creates a strain on public services.
No, it doesn't. I think that actually helps us provide for more public services because undocumented immigrants and
No.
documented immigrants have a higher labor force participation rate than natural-born U.S. citizens.
So, do you want to talk about in terms of education? Because like I have my numbers right here. So I think it does create a strain on public services because immigrant children make up about 25% of all public school students nationwide, right? So that will make so schools with higher immigrant populations spend 15 to 30% more on people per pupil
Okay,
on
so to clarify, are you
ESL.
advocating for people who immigrate to the United States for their children to not get access to school?
I'm saying that that we should have more control over immigration. I'm totally down.
Wait. So you're saying we should have more control over immigration. So why are you bringing up specifically like the cost of like children going to school?
Because it creates a strain on public services. So what I'm saying is the just
You said
amount.
it creates a strain on public services. The amount of do you know how much the percentage education is of our overall budget?
Not too sure, no.
Yeah,
Can you tell
you're
me?
talking about like 0.1% of the budget or less than 0.1%, right? Because we're talking about what 60 to 70 billion dollars, right, comparative to the overall budget of like trillions of several trillions. What's up?
You're talking like from the GDP.
No, I'm talking about the budget.
No way, because like local taxpayers like face higher taxes and cuts in other education areas to cover these costs.
Yeah, because of how we fund education and property taxes. I don't think it should be funded that way. I think it should be funded through income tax.
So can you like elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think income tax is progressive, and I would rather prefer for progressive tax structure to pay for it rather than property tax, which oftentimes can have a regressive impact.
To be honest, you have a really, really good point. I should look into that more, but okay. So my other points I brought up, right?
Thank you.
The other points I brought up is how do we balance humanitarian immigration with national security?
Okay, so how is Trump better for national security?
I want to say Trump is better for national security, but he is deporting people, right? Undocumented immigrants, and that helps us get a control on national security.
How is that related? How is deporting undocumented immigrants who have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes helping our national security?
Because they're undocumented. If an undocumented immigrant chooses to commit a violent crime, how would we identify them?
In the same way that we would identify people outside of that context. Right, I'm sorry, like you know that we still have investigations for U.S. citizens as well, and oftentimes we might not have fingerprints, we might have any of the information of them, but you go based upon certain types of things within the investigation that you would do if you don't have their information. because we wouldn't have U.S. citizens information when they're doing the investigation.
What do you mean? How wouldn't we have the U.S. citizens' information if we're doing an investigation?
Repeat that. Sorry.
Can you just elaborate on what you just said? The points you just made.
Elaborate about what point?
You just talked about how during investigations, American citizens, we wouldn't have a way to identify them. I didn't hear that properly. You were talking really fast.
Okay, so yeah, I'm guess I'm confused. I got a little bit sidetracked. Can you repeat what you were saying so that I can try and formulate what I was saying in response?
Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Let me gather my thoughts. I was talking about like, yes. So for undocumented migrants, the undocumented, so we wouldn't really have a way to identify them, right? So if they choose to commit a violent crime, how would we identify them?
In the same mannerisms we identify someone who's a citizen.
Which is?
I'm sorry, like, do you want me to go through like how we investigate people in typical? I don't know the full process of how investigations always work, but I know that you don't have the specific information of someone.
Just give me like a brief like explanation of it, because I'm not really sure how you'd identify someone if they don't really have any way of identification.
Well, how would it be different given that they don't have identification? Because, I mean, there are plenty of U.S. citizens that you don't have specific things to identify them about, unless you're referencing specifically, right, things about them that witnesses would have identified.
We only have the witness identification for undocumented immigrants, right? So like
You can't identify someone as has committed the crime of being in the country undocumented just by witnessing, right? Unless they would have like told you or something.
Wait, can you just repeat that line you were breaking up?
You can't identify that someone is in the country undocumented unless they specifically, right, would have told you as a typical person.
So then how is ICE deporting people if they don't know who to report?
That's a problem that you have to answer yourself.
But then, okay, but you're telling me that they wouldn't know who's an illegal immigrant.
Who's in the country who's undocumented. Yeah, so like here, if we want to know who they are, then give them a pathway to citizenship where they don't have to leave the country. Rock, thank you so much. Because if you give them a pathway to citizenship where they don't have to leave the country, well, then that incentivizes them to get documentation.
I need you to talk like so much slower.
Yeah, it incentivizes people to get documentation if it is the case that we provide a legal pathway that wouldn't kick them out of the country.
But they're also causing a strain on public services. Not only that, but it's also a breach of like national security. That's like
No,
the 2 points
you're just wrong. Undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants provide more into our systems than they take from it, because it is the case that they have a higher labor force participation rate, meaning they work to a greater extent than the average natural born American.
I'm not talking about like in the labor force, because I completely understand that. Because if the 8 million jobs are taken up in the labor force right now by undocumented migrants, right? And 8 million jobs are still open, so like that really doesn't matter. But what I'm referring to would be for education and then healthcare and then like social welfare and public assistance.
And are you listening to me at all? What did I say in response to that in terms of revenue generation?
You said how like illegal immigrants actually contribute money because they're in the workforce.
Documented and undocumented immigrants have a higher labor force participation rate than natural born U.S. citizens, meaning they're going to be providing more into the systems to pay for things like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, right? So we don't have to reduce benefits in the long run, because it's the case that we're going to have a higher percentage of the population that is older, right? That and a lower percentage of the population that is younger working, because we've had fertility rates below replacement rate, which is 2.1, since around the 70s.
But right now, taxpayers are facing like higher taxes and cuts in other areas. So like, yeah.
Higher tax. Wait, sorry, repeat that.
So in education, right? So like local taxpayers are facing higher taxes, and then like if we're referring to education, they're also facing, well, children are facing cuts in other educational areas.
Do you think undocumented immigrants like reduce overall revenue in the country or something, or do you think it makes it harder for us to pay for education if we have undocumented immigrants given a pathway to citizenship?
I said that they strain public services.
I feel like you're not listening to me at all. Are they a net strain or are they a net benefit?
In some areas,
No,
they are straining public services.
Net means overall, like overall benefit or overall loss.
I think there's slightly more of a loss.
More of a loss? Okay, what evidence do you have of that?
If you're asking me what evidence if I have of like a total like
Yeah,
if you're talking
that
about-
immigrants are a net loss to our economy. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I'm just saying that like off of what I have right now, what I looked at. You just asked me a question I didn't really think about.
It's the point of a debate.
Well, I
To
was
ask
thinking
you
like,
questions that you haven't thought about.
if you want, I could look it up now.
For sure, go for it. All right, in the meantime, we'll bring someone up here. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of YouTube. Tony, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. Madi, thank you for the $4.20. Thank you so much. Probably, here, I had 2 hours, 30 minutes, so I probably have another 3.5 hours max. But thank you so much, Madi. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Talia, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $1.50. Thank you. As well as Michelle, thank you for the $4.44. Thank you. All right. What's it called? Spark, are you there? How old are you?
38.
Do you support Trump?
Yep.
Okay, why so?
Because my brain don't work too good.
Totally trolling. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Age, thank you for the $2.
Hello?
Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
19.
Do you support Trump?
I support Kamala Harris.
W. Kamala Harris. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Everyone, we are just looking for some debates. Look at the next person up here real quick. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do support Donald Trump. Yo, thank you for the fish and chips. Thank you so much, Millie. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you did support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. Oh my gosh, I don't know why it's not. Dude, why does it do that? It like jumps around, and it's like I can't even click someone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
19.
Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
What's your birth year?
2006.
Okay, what month?
April 13th.
Why do you support Trump?
Okay, so I actually have 2 points that I want to cover. One is obviously like the conflict going on in Iran right now, and then second is the deportation thing. Can I actually provide the statistic that the other person is looking for right now? Because I know that like you asked for that recently.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, obviously you can find your own as well, but so I went on to the House Committee on the Budget, like the U.S. Budget Commission for the U.S., and they released an article saying that the here, let me just read the article word for word so I don't like twist the words.
The budget committee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
budget.
that's that's a Republican source. That's not nonpartisan. That's a Republican source.
Yeah, but like the study itself actually cites. Can you give me like a second? I just need to mute real quick.
In the meantime, everyone, keep tapping that screen, keep sharing the live. I'll help get it out to more people. It looks like I need to bring up a third Trump supporter up here real quick. Give it 1 second, y'all.
I have the answer you were looking for.
Did you find it?
I'm back. Whenever you're ready.
Diamond, how old are you? All right. Yeah. Anonymous, did you find your source?
I did. So I have like a few sources here.
Go ahead.
Do you
Tell
want
me.
me to state the source, or you want me to tell you?
Yeah. What's the source?
Like if. Okay, so my sources are NewYorkPost.com, MarketWatch.com.
No. What's the title?
The title. Hold on, let me scroll up. Sanctuary City, Denver, has spent almost $8,000 for each of the 45,000 migrants that have come to the city, and now the mayor says he'll risk jail to stop them being deported.
The $8,000 one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are asylum seekers who are here legally.
And then I have MarketWatch.com.
Also, it says the bill so far for Denver sanctuary city policies for taxpayers is $7,900 per immigrant. Yeah, that's legal migration. So, do you have an issue with legal migration? Like this is totally legal.
I'm talking about like immigration in general.
Yeah,
right?
this is legal immigration.
Yeah, I'm talking about illegal or illegal. They do cause us
Yeah,
pain.
and did you know it only is 8% of the overall budget?
What is 8% of the overall budget?
For every single fund that is used to help an immigrant in the country or in the state.
As in like public services or like asylum?
As in public services. Like provided
8%
specifically through Colorado.
No, I'm talking about nationwide.
Wait, you just brought up Colorado. Like Denver being.
Yeah, that was one of the sources I've looked at. I have like a few more here.
Okay, all right, go find it.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so my other source is MarketWatch, and then the title is Illegal Immigration Surge Has Cost These Swing State Taxpayers Billions, study says.
Immigration has cost taxpayers how much? Billions? Market Watch?
Billions, yeah. Yeah, MarketWatch.
Okay, market. All right, let's watch this. Let's look at this. Alrighty. Let's cost these swing states billions. Okay. Polling suggests immigration top concern for Americans. Immigration both. Oh, right here. Your own source says immigration, both legal and illegal, tends to grow the national economy and improve the fiscal budget outlook from the Congressional Budget Office. It says.
Okay, so.
It says that is because even undocumented immigrants typically pay more in income and payroll taxes than they receive in federal benefits. That's literally what your own source says.
Yeah, that is one of my own sources. So the physical impact, we're talking like nationally, there is a net gain, right? Because tax contributors and economic benefits exceed federal costs. However,
Wait, hold
if we're
on.
talking like
Your source literally says that they provide more benefits.
yeah, but Yeah, that's like if we're referring to like nationally, but in states and local, if we're referring to that, there's a net burden because service costs more than they pay into the local budgets.
Is there anything within the source that says that it's a net loss?
Um,
Because this said the typical recent immigrant
yeah,
boosts the U.S.
so
economy at a present value of $13,000 when accounting for taxes paid, received in economic activity done by the immigrant. That's from the Cato Institute. That's your own source citing that.
yeah, so if you scroll down under like housing, emergency healthcare, and immigration and education costs, which is what I was referring to, it says illegal immigration is a drain on public resources because the services that they are likely to use are more expensive than the contributions they make through any taxes
Yeah,
undocumented immigrants may pay.
that's them quoting someone from the Center for Immigration Studies, which is a far right wing think tank. It literally says right before it, CIS is a think tank that advocates for less immigration and tougher enforcement of laws meant to dissuade illegal immigration.
Right, because it does
And then
cause a
and then
strain
it shows how
on
that's different from what the CBO indicates. But yeah, I don't know why you just cited that.
Wait, what? The CBO estimates that between 2021 and 2026, 8.7 million more immigrants will come into the US than had been expected based on pre-pandemic trends.
Okay, and that's actually
What are
good,
you
and that
comparing
will
this
actually
to?
grow the economy.
And cause more of a strain on public services, which is what I keep coming back to.
Okay. So nothing in your source here indicates that they're a net loss, which is what you were originally claiming. If you'd like to go find a source that indicates that, go for it. But your source here indicates it's better.
So I have like Wikipedia as well. And as I said, right, there is a net gain nationally because tax contributions and then economic benefits exceed federal costs. But if we're talking state and local, there's a net burden. So it's mixed because service costs more than they pay into local budgets.
Okay, so then what you're saying is that there needs to be federal subsidization, right? You're just saying certain local areas aren't receiving the specific taxation, right? But they would in terms of sales tax. So I don't know. I don't know which places or areas you're referencing. I don't even think it mentions within your article.
That's one of the like 4 articles I looked at. And
Okay. Well, I mean, if you'd like to tell me other articles, go for it. But it doesn't seem like you necessarily even read that article
I
or
skimmed through
knew
it.
what it was referencing.
I did skim through the article.
Okay. All right. ARA, are you there?
If you
RF, yeah. So just to follow up on that like source that you just discredited because it was from the budget committee, which is like historically biased. So basically the source itself isn't in any relation with the budget committee. The budget committee itself had cited the source on their website, and the actual research paper itself was not in any like proper connection to the budget committee itself.
Okay.
And it provides like clear statistics and like immense citations and sources. Would you just mind like taking a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me just tell you what to Google real quick. It is, the thesis paper is titled "The Cost of Illegal Immigration to Taxpayers." Prepared testimony of Stephen A. Camarada.
Pairs.
Stephen with
is it okay? Wait, the cost of illegal immigration to taxpayer. What is it? A cost of what?
Prepared testimony of Stephen A. Camarota. Camarada.
Of Stephen. Is this from CIS?
Yeah.
That's a think tank, a Republican think tank.
Would that discredit the statistics there?
Yeah, actually.
Can you explain like why?
I mean, if I gave you a left-wing think tank, would you accept it?
I mean, I don't. I wouldn't
Like literally,
expect any personal.
if I gave you a
toward,
left-wing
like,
think tank, you would not accept the information.
I would accept the statistics provided in the information if that was what's being cited, but because
Really? So I could just cite you left-wing think tanks and you'll accept it?
But like the original statistics aren't from those think tanks; they're from other research papers.
Yes, it is. It's wait. The research paper is from CIS.
No. The research paper has its own work cited where it stats like one think tank collects information. It doesn't do all of the 100% of those studies itself, correct?
Okay.
And therefore it gets
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is specifically saying the cost of illegal immigration to taxpayers. Prepared testimony of Stephen A. Camarada, Director for Research for the Center for Immigration Studies for the Immigration Integrity, Security, and Enforcement Subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee. So it's him conducting, right, a paper, right, that summarizes key points specifically relating to that. That's from the think tank.
Yes, but the thing is that he's all right. All right. I'm going to say one point. If it doesn't work,
what is he citing that is different? What study is he citing that's independent of him?
And also, like, even if you just use the logic that he's saying, can you refute? Just like even if you just refute that,
wait. So I'm asking where?
Like the logic, pure logic.
Well, where do you
like the entire paper, all these statistics.
Wait, I'm confused. Say that one more time.
Like, are you on the paper right now? Like,
I'm currently on the paper.
Okay, like, do you see the like almost pages of complete statistics that are like completely like driving
They're not
towards
just complete statistics. There's a summary with key points where there are bullet points, and then it goes into an introduction and paper type
let's scroll
sort
down.
of analysis.
Let's scroll down to the fiscal impact of illegal immigration. Let's just look at just pure facts, the cost for New York City, right? I'm just going to read the paragraph if that's okay.
Wait, this is, again, what they claim. Again, a right-wing think tank, just to clarify.
No,
so, again, would you accept information from a left-wing think tank? I really would love to hear that answer.
Right. If I cite one of the sources in it that isn't from the think tank, would you take that source separate?
Yeah. What is it? What did it cite?
Okay, look at the 12th source in the work cited. It states that the city of New York, like the government of New York, expects to spend $12 billion over the next 3 years on housing.
Hold on. The 12th? Wait, which one is it called?
Scroll down to the fiscal impact of illegal immigration, and then you see under the cost for New York City, do you see the number 12? Like citation.
Okay, hold up. I got you. So the fiscal C number 12.
And then just scroll down to the work cited and go to the 12th source, which is Mayor Adams.
I got it. Where does it say 12? Hold up.
Just scroll down to the work cited at the very, very bottom.
Sorry, it says page not found, and it's from the New York Times.
My page is loading like completely fine.
Nope. And it's from the New York Times. I don't know why you're giving me. Okay.
All right, it's fine. We can move on from that. I can completely agree where you're coming from. Just like as a separate note,
it literally says page not found. What are you saying?
Can I turn on my camera here? Is that like a viable thing?
Yeah. Or no, you can't. You don't have the ability to.
Okay.
I can literally show this on the screen. I can literally show you it saying that. But like when you click on it, it says page not found.
All right, for me it shows, but like if you want me to turn on my video, I can. But
you can't. You don't have the ability on TikTok because you don't have enough followers.
Oh, okay. It's fine. We can move on to the next topic then. And if anyone wants to like further research it, they can.
Okay, go for it. Angela, thank you so much for pushing the $20. Thank you so much.
Hold on, I closed my doc while doing all this research. Okay. Basically, my next point was on Iran. I'll just go off the top of my head. The next point was on Iran, right? So, do you agree that what happened recently with Trump striking the nuclear plants was a de-escalatory like act? I get that it could have been.
No, it was definitely escalatory.
And can you explain how it's escalatory? Sorry, I should let you explain.
He's bombing another country. Do
Okay,
I need to
but you
explain
agree
how
that
bombing another country? Can I ask a question? If Iran bombed us, would that be escalatory?
yes, because it would be provocative. All right. I get what you're saying. You're saying that the U.S. attacking Iran would be provocative of Iran, which then starts a conflict further, right? But what we've seen, like actively, right, is that Iran was escalating currently with Israel, right? We agree that Iran was escalating with Israel. And we agree that there was a potential for it to go nuclear, right? And we agree that America didn't strike any civilian areas, and so they only attacked the nuclear power plants. Yes, there were some deaths that were not intended, or maybe they were intended, but do you agree that the majority and the main aim of those strikes was to eliminate Iran's nuclear arsenal, which obviously the GCPOA, I know I've heard you had another point about that as well.
Again, but like regardless of that, where the point we're saying is that that's just increasing conflict. Israel is the one who engaged in the original strike, and then we decided to authorize a strike on Iran when they did not strike us.
Because they were striking, first of all, they were attacking one of our allies, aka Israel.
I have a question. Do you support defending Ukraine?
To us, yes.
You do? So you disagree with Donald Trump cutting the funding?
For Ukraine?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we can't make,
Sign
like, what's your
description.
connection?
You can't what?
Like they're two separate conflicts.
Oh, so you're willing to support an offensive conflict in the Middle East, but not a defensive one in response to like Russia trying to invade Ukraine, which is a country we had an agreement with that if they gave up their nuclear weapons, that we would defend them.
Okay, but Iran was making active strikes, and they were actively like harming the country. All we did, they were attacking Israel. No,
What is
incorrect?
Russia not attacking Ukraine?
Yes, they were.
And by the way, that's after Israel attacked them in response.
Yes, I agree. Israel attacked them, but the U.S. had.
Russia invaded Ukraine, correct? Russia is
but
attacking Ukraine, correct?
That's a separate.
We have
part.
an
Israel
agreement
is
with
a
Ukraine that if they gave up their nuclear weapons, that we would defend them, correct? And we do not have such an agreement with Donald Trump, do we?
Okay.
I mean, not Donald Trump. Sorry, I meant to say Israel.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have. Okay.
Yeah. I could easily mistake the two. My bad.
You're. So basically, what I'm trying to say is Trump didn't attack any civilian areas in Iran. Do you agree? He had only attacked with nuclear weapons. Trump had only.
Well, I don't know why you're using this as a response. I'm saying you're disputing the idea that it increased tensions.
Okay. All right. Can you just reinstate your point since apparently I'm not understanding?
Donald Trump bombing Iran increases tensions.
Yes, but like if you take that, then it's just another like conflict of diplomacy versus deterrence, right? We can make a million examples. We can talk about China and Taiwan diplomacy versus deterrence. They're muddy waters that have always been like played with, and especially when we're talking about the Middle East, an area that is like not like obviously we can go on debating this forever, but it's not the most stable area. We have to agree that there's a line we have to draw between diplomacy and deterrence. For example,
Legal Think of the Galaxy. Thank you so much.
For example, like Trump specifically, right? Obviously, the talks were canceled, so you may be able to discredit to that to some extent. But he was going for a peace talk with Oman. Don't you agree? Before, and then obviously those were canceled because of the Israel-Iran conflict that it spurred up. But Trump had attempted diplomacy, and
he pulled us out of the nuclear peace agreement with Iran. What are you talking about? Paralegal again. Think of the Galaxy.
Are you talking about the GCPOA?
Yes.
Okay, so
and Alyssa, thank you so much for pushing the $10. Yes, absolutely. Rank Zoran number 1 and don't rank Cuomo. I totally agree.
Okay. So basically, when it comes to the GCPOA, I have 3 points. First of all, if we compare, all right. First of all, the GCPOA itself was like a flawed program, right? It was flawed for many reasons. First of all, it had summit clauses, which basically means that all of the protections that the GCPOA provided would have all dissipated within maybe 10 to 15 years, right? So it didn't provide long-term stability. And then on top of that, what it did do is it lifted sanctions off of Iran, which specifically gave them billions of dollars, which supersede those restrictions for 15 years, right? So what's happening now is you're giving the country billions of dollars, and on top of that, you're not making a permanent agreement. It was supposed to like disappear and dissipate after 15 years, and then on top of that, there was like a lot of scrutiny on. It's because of the managing framework that the GCPOA worked on, that Iran could have easily like evaded surveillance by the GCPOA. So it
Not
fundamentally wasn't. What do you mean not true?
The idea that you have that they could just evade surveillance was ridiculous. It's 24/7 surveillance. That was the most amount of surveillance agreed to by any agreement in terms of a nuclear denuclearization deal of any country ever. I'm serious. You said it doesn't create long-term stability. It creates a hell of a lot more long-term stability than it creates. Can I please finish?
Sure, yeah, I'm sorry.
Creates a hell of a lot more long-term stability than not having an agreement in the first place, because you can come back to the deal. You know, right? You can come back and you can do the deal again.
Biden
right. Wait, it also gave you more time with them not developing nuclear weapons, right? And then the money that you're referencing for quote unquote giving them billions, that's just removing the sanctions, right? Unfreezing their own bank accounts. That's preferable to going to war with them.
Can you say that last point one more time? You just cut out like that last sentence.
It's preferable. Specifically, that we'd get rid of the sanctions and that we would unfreeze their bank accounts to going to war with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But, all right. That aside, you agree that the GCPOA was hypothetical. It was never implemented. I'll address your points in a second. But you agree that it was never implemented.
It was implemented.
Peace talks were stopped before it was ever implemented. Can I see your source? Or maybe I'm messing up.
Are you talking about the one? Wait, under Obama, it was established.
And then it was formally, then it was dissolved afterwards, right?
By Donald Trump. Donald Trump pulled out of it.
And you agree that the Biden administration had also restarted talks to like bring it back, right?
Yeah, he wanted to bring it after he got rid of it. But he never was able to actually do that because he was the one who completely pulled out of the deal in the first place. And he was threatening, right? So obviously that's not a way you're actually going to get compromised and get a deal done.
So you just agreed that Biden had backed out of the GCPOA, correct?
That Donald Trump did.
Yes, but later when like peace talks were reinitiated via the Biden administration, they hit a stalemate and then were foreclosed afterwards.
They hit a stalemate again under Trump, and then the Biden-Harris administration couldn't get a deal done specifically with them because the Trump administration pulled us out, and that harmed relations. We actually saw under the Obama administration they did get the deal done. So the idea is that we had a deal done with Iran, right, under the Obama-Biden administration, right, specifically for a nuclear peace agreement, and then Donald Trump pulled us out of that agreement. So again, right, the reason why we're not in the agreement is because of Donald Trump, right? I don't know why you keep trying to go over that.
Okay, but you agree to the fact that like the Biden administration, it's like what I'm not understanding about your point here is that why couldn't the Biden administration reinstate the program? You said it was because of harmed relations with Iran because of the Trump administration. Sorry, do you have a source for that?
Wait, repeat that.
You said that the reason the Biden administration was unable to resume those peace talks was because of the actions of the Trump administration, correct? And they harmed relations with Iran.
Yeah. So the Biden-Harris administration couldn't get an agreement with Iran because Trump harmed the relations.
Yeah. Do you have like any source for that I could see, like specifically from Iran?
Do they have to? I'm saying that's a result of the things that happened. Do I have to? Does Iran have to say, "Oh, we didn't do this deal because Trump," for you to believe that?
Well, what I'm just saying is that you can't you just said that relations were harmed with Iran, yet you also are providing no evidence from Iran that relations were harmed, and therefore they didn't go through the deal. I'm trying to say is that
I'm sorry. Listen to this. There was a deal that limited them from producing nuclear weapons. Trump pulled out of the deal. They started producing nuclear weapons again. That's clearly indicative of the fact that there was you know.
But they would have started producing weapons anyway because the
No, they
GCPOA
weren't.
itself
It
was
did.
dissolved after 15 years.
Wait, but it still would have been in effect for way more years. It'd still be in effect today.
Do you know what the summit clauses are?
What's the what clause?
Summit clauses. Basically, they're clauses in a treaty, a national peace agreement, which dissolve after a certain set of time. There's
You said how many years?
10, 15 years. I think 15 was the longest out of all of the summit clauses that were listed.
Okay, so 15 years. When was it originally established?
2018.
2018. So if it was originally established, no, it wasn't established in 2018. That was under yeah, you can come in. That was under Obama. It was established.
Okay, but so what's your point here? If it was it was still under the
15
same
years.
clauses.
That goes to 31.
But the summit clauses were still the summit. Wait, how does it go to 31? What? I'm sorry. Am I interrupting?
No, you're fine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, 31.
So
what
was
is 16 plus 15?
Okay, even if it was 31, even if it was 50, you agree that it still had dissolved at some point, correct?
Right, sure, but that's better than it not existing.
No, I don't think it is because the managing framework.
Because in the future it's going to dissolve, we should dissolve it as early as possible. What?
No. But the framework itself of managing it was not systemically correct. The IEAI, I think, was the managing system.
It's better than what you got under Trump.
That you're saying was Trump had directly prevented nuclear strikes in an escalatory effect. Like he had tried to negotiate peace agreements with Iran, right? We've seen him. He was attempting peace agreements in Oman with Iran, correct? However, those had been canceled. He had tried the diplomatic route. And like, I feel like you're painting him in a worse picture.
Why did he pull us out? He should have tried the diplomatic route on top of the deal that already existed.
He pulled the diplomats out of the area because of the conflict that was happening. He didn't want harm coming to those people. Like, obviously, if there's a conflict in the area, he canceled the peace agreement. And we can, like, forget about the diplomatic route. Don't you agree that just a few hours ago, Trump had successfully, like, gone through with the diplomatic route? Well, like, you can obviously say that there was more of a part in Israel, there was more of a part of Iran in those diplomatic route, but a peace agreement was reached, correct?
Israel hasn't said anything about it. Why?
Like, what do you mean? Who hasn't said?
Why
Are you saying
hasn't Israel said anything about it?
Are you saying Trump? All right, has Iran said something about it?
Not answering my question.
Why? Yeah, you could. Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Oh, I just said. Sorry, I said why. Why won't you answer that question?
I asked you a question first, and you're not answering my question.
My bad. Sorry, it slipped my ears. Can you just say it one more time?
Why hasn't Israel said anything about it?
I don't have the qualification to answer that question. I'm not like in contact with the government of Israel, but I don't think Israel's the main thing that I'm trying to focus on here. It's mainly the Irani part.
So you don't have an answer.
Because that's what we're focusing on, right? America had attacked Iran. That's where all of this whole, oh my gosh.
Wouldn't it be important to address both of them before you say that there's a deal done?
Okay, even if we don't agree that there's a deal done, there was a deal done on Iran's side, right? Iran had achieved some sort of right?
With
That's
who?
where our entire debate is coming from. Okay, let me sort of
who do you make a deal
frame
with?
Let me try to frame this argument.
Who did they make a deal with?
Who did who make a deal with?
Iran.
They had made a deal negotiated with the U.S. to cease fire and stop all proceeding attack.
No, with Israel.
Yes, with Israel.
Okay, so why haven't we heard from Israel?
Didn't Dean just a few hours ago say that
why haven't we heard from Israel?
All right, my point is on Iran. Can we I'll get to Israel in a minute, but can we look at Iran for just 2 seconds?
No, I'm about to kick you because you're being so annoying.
All right, I'm sorry. Can I say one sentence, and then if you want, we can focus on Israel after this? Well, and then you won't have to kick me because I'll move on. But basically, what I'm saying is that this entire argument, the very first thing is because everyone has said, oh, America striking Iran is going to cause World War III. He's escalating. He's doing all of these bad things, right? But we've seen that Trump has successfully, because this main thing is diplomacy versus deterrence. I keep saying it, diplomacy versus deterrence. Deterrence meaning militarism, escalatory views such as the attacks on the nuclear sites. Diplomacy being Iran had ceased fire. So our main concern is Iran, right? Because that's where our conflict is. You agree that Iran has ceased with Israel, with Israel at least.
No, why have we not heard from Israel on the fucking deal that they were a part of, apparently?
You just said no to what I just said. Can I just confirm that?
I'm gonna go fucking crazy.
Iran
Am I having a conversation with someone right now?
All right, we can just move on to the next.
No. And engage with what I have to say, or I'm gonna kick you from the stream.
Your point was
this is incredibly insufferable.
Why Israel hasn't said anything, but our whole point was that Iran has ceased the fire, which
Holy
has stopped
shit! Dude, you have about 5 fucking seconds to answer the damn question, or I'm gonna kick you off the stream. I can't do this anymore. I've given you how long? I've given you how long to respond?
Okay, your point is basically just trying to say I don't know, because I don't know what Israel said, but my point is also not on Israel.
Okay, so then, but we would have to, if they are a part of the fucking deal, why haven't we heard from them?
It's not, they aren't a part of the fucking deal.
Yes, they were. It was a fucking ceasefire between Israel and Iran, apparently.
All right.
So why haven't we heard from Israel?
All right, there's two sides to a war, right? There's two sides to a war. Forget who's the attacker, who's the defender. There's two people attacking in a war. And now there's the third party, which is the US. If Iran agrees not to attack the other two parties, don't you agree that that prevents Iran from attacking us?
No.
Okay, then maybe, all right, I'm starting to agree with your point now. Now, why, I just watched Dean's live stream, and the end of his live stream, he had said it was implied because Iran wouldn't attack Israel, they wouldn't attack the US. Can you, do you have any justification for his reasoning? Obviously, I could, ask him if you don't agree with it. I agree.
So people are, I understand that people are saying that it's implied.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that it is the case that it actually upholds that. They could still attack the United States. Plus, the fact that we haven't heard about this from Israel, we haven't heard from both sides, is very bad, right? And actually is evidence, if anything, that there probably wasn't something.
So you're basically saying that he's pretty much making it up because there's no treaty and the other side hasn't agreed to it, and Iran has no.
I'm just saying I don't have enough reason to say right now.
Okay, so there's not enough information, and I guess I agree that we're going off of one tweet. So. Okay, I think I'm sort of starting to come around on your point there. I agree with you. Okay. And also, I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little rude. I'm obviously new to all of these takes. I just got more involved recently, so I'm learning about these things. But I agree with your point. I think I know what you're saying. Now onto my point about deportations, right? So I had heard, at least Dean was saying, I don't know if you support the same thing, that a good alternative to mass deportations is mass amnesty. Do you agree with that point?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree that, can you give some reasons exactly why mass amnesty is favorable?
Yeah, I think it's better for our economy. I think it's better for people who are coming to the country themselves in terms of being able to benefit their lives. I think that immigration is a fundamental aspect of the identity of what it means to be an American. I think that immigration is a good thing and beneficial to our culture.
Is Trump removing immigration completely?
No, but he is limiting it, or advocating to limit it, and he's violating it in terms of due process.
And how is that?
People have been violated in terms of their due process rights relating to immigration due to the ICE raids, for example.
But the mass majority of Trump's policies have been towards things that were under strict legal guidelines, correct?
Wait, sorry, repeat that one more time.
like what Trump's doing, right? Supporting the southern border and supporting the. Hold on, my Google Doc just completely crashed. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that Trump's policies regarding the southern border and also like deporting immigrants are all in the best benefit of the U.S., which isn't going toward like against any constitution or whatnot. And how is
So,
that? How are they going against them?
how are they better for the U.S. to mass deport people?
Okay, I actually had like I'm gonna be really honest. I had a Google Doc with all those points. I just lost it. Can you like hop someone on while I pull it up in 2 seconds with the evidence?
Okay.
Okay, and also just like before I leave, in case I accidentally get kicked or
By the
something.
way, this is good information for you, real quick. Before Santana
sure.
said that Israel hasn't committed, and Iran said that Israel has until Tuesday morning to agree with the ceasefire.
Okay, so we'll see then. Okay.
Well, I don't know why Trump was parading on fucking socials.
Yeah, no, that was immature, I guess. And no, I totally agree with that. So just like give me 2 seconds. Also, like if I wanted to like research like politics and like political information to build my opinion, do you know like good places I could look? And I think this could just help people in chat as well.
Yeah.
Do you know like where I can get trusted info?
Yes. AP News, NPR, PBS, and Reuters for typical news. And then also for like economics, Bureau of Labor Statistics, St. Louis Federal Reserve, things like that.
Shoot, you said that all really quick. It's fine. I'll ask you later on it. You can
Also go back onto my YouTube and watch it back because I stream
okay.
everything on YouTube, and it's there.
Okay. All right. Just give me like 2 seconds. I'll mute up.
Alrighty.
So I have my sources if you want them now.
Go ahead.
Okay, so just give me a second. Let me scroll up again.
Okay. In the meantime, everyone do tap that screen, share the live. It will help get out to more people. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Darling, thank you for $2. Thank you so much. I think that was previous. Angie, thank you so much for the $1. Angie, oh my God, wait, ceasefire is over. Iran, wait, hold up.
Wait, what?
That's I haven't seen that. All right, let me catch up back where we were in terms of the donations here on YouTube. Let me catch up with that, and then we'll get back onto the debates, everybody. Real quick. Thank you so much for the $5. Mental with the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Evelyn, thank you so much for the $2 and the $5. Thank you. Rodney with the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate it, Rodney. Michael, thank you so much for the $2. Mental with the $5. Thank you. Laura, thank you so much for the $5. Evelyn with the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's serious. That's serious. And then Angie, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, W, thank you so much, Angie. All right, go ahead.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I have common sense institute.org, and then the title is Updated Cost Denver Migrants, so that's Denver.
What's the title? Sorry.
Yeah, Updated Cost Denver Migrants.
And where's this from? CommonSenseInstitute.org.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. And what are you trying to get from this?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, so Denver has spent like 79 million, I think. Yeah, 79 million through 2024 on migrant services, which is like housing, healthcare, education, plus 49 million in hospital uncompensated care. So that's like roughly 79.
Yeah, we're talking about legal immigrants.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they're illegal, then what's the issue?
But I'm talking about like illegal and legal, like immigration in general, right? So I never specified. Yeah, I never specified.
You said it's not specified?
No, I said I didn't specify, right? So when I came to debate, I
So
was talking about like,
are you against legal immigration?
it's not like I'm completely against it. I think we should just have just a little bit more control on it because, as I said,
What does that mean? So
it's.
you want to decrease legal immigration?
Can you just give me a second to finish? So as I was saying, right, I think we should have like just a little bit more control on it because the 8 million people, the 12 million people who came into the country last term, right, it's causing a strain on public services. So what I'm saying is I'm not like totally against immigration. I think it's good for the country, but I think we should just have a little bit more control on it.
Okay.
As to not cause a strain on public services.
Okay. I think you've made the same point like 10 times. Is there any new point you want to make?
Well, I'm sticking to the same point because you didn't really give me like a proper argument.
A response? I did. Like all of the evidence indicates that there's a net benefit from immigration on the economy.
Yeah, and I
You
also
can look at the
responded to
bibliography in
that.
my bio that indicates that as well.
And I also responded to that. If we're talking nationally, there is a net gain, but if we're talking like states and local, there's a net burden because services cost more than they pay into local budget.
Okay, so again, you have yet to say anything about here in terms of the revenues that undocumented immigrants provided for the city of Denver.
What was that? Repeat?
You didn't even look at the revenues for people in terms of Denver who are immigrants.
Yeah, I did. It's somewhere here. Just give me a second to pull it up.
While she's doing that, just as a quick update, yeah, there's been up-to-date information, which is coming out on Al Jazeera, and the consensus is there's been no substantial change. Israel is still launching missiles, and like, yeah, it's still happening. They haven't commented on it. They haven't officially agreed on it. It's still there.
The ceasefire isn't official.
Iran has agreed to it. Israel has not yet and has not made any comment and continues to, as of 3 minutes ago, they shot off more missiles.
But like we're safe from Iran and like so is Israel technically, right? Until
No.
I mean Iran could counterstrike, never mind.
Yeah, I think the thing that a lot of people aren't taking into consideration, because most people think, like war in the sense of firing missiles and troops and things like that. But due to like of course, the oceans, right? I mean, the Pacific and Atlantic, but then also the Canada and Mexico to the north and south of us. If we were going to see some type of attack, I would think that it would be more of a cyber attack, right? Something on our power grid or something along those lines, more so than like an actual physical attack. So.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Anonymous or Arif?
Yeah. So, undocumented migrants. Oh wait, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
I think they're about to repeat the same thing again.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I'm just gonna kick them. They're gonna repeat the same thing. You're damn right. Push that mustache. You know what? What am I trying to do? Nina, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. Offline, thank you for the $5. Thank you. Let's go on to the next person. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's go on to the next individual.